Filling in. I'd like to welcome you back to another Friday Night Live, where we're going to talk about topics other shows are a little afraid to talk about sometimes. And sometimes we're behind a little bit, so sometimes people have already talked about it, but never really got all the information. They kind of did surface level. We're going to kind of dig into the law that just got enhanced. I call it an enhancement to an already established law when it comes to filing for marriages. We're talking about tougher interviews, stricter vetting, instant denials, and a whole lot more people are going to get caught up in this new net that passed August 1st when it comes to this law through the USCIS. Okay, so we're going to get in depth with it a little bit. We have some special guests coming up on the panel. We already gave out links for people on the panel tonight. So we're going to welcome them in here in a little while we go through some of these points that we need to highlight on the law. We're not going to take a long time going through it because I know other channels have already kind of gone through it and had whole presentations on the law itself. I just want to bring out certain red flags on the law. And actually, is it actually going to be helping passport bros, blue book gentlemen, brothers traveling abroad, and whether they're bringing their women back to the United States, or maybe even the ones that met women here that were traveling that are maybe on vacation and getting married? Who does it really affect? Is it really giving a leg up? Because it's been promoted that, a lot of brothers are being helped out by this. I don't necessarily agree with that. But before we go in depth with the videos, I want to introduce, obviously, Fearless Podcast and Black Man Travels. How you brothers doing? Go ahead and tell me how your week been going.
Long week, man. This was a fast week, long week. Lots of work. Just trying to catch up. But, we here. Friday has came upon us.
Again, like fast, too.
Yeah, same here. It's just been a long week. So lifing. It's a lot of activities throughout the week. So when that Friday comes, you just want to relax. So, yeah.
No, believe me, bro. We understand having them young kids, and then Fearless is right back in the game. And Lord help me. I'm not even thinking about it right now, but I know it's going to happen. I already know it's going to happen. So, you guys heard about this new law that just reappeared, or enhancement to a law that's already been established with the USCIS. You guys both have wives here in the United States. I think you both petitioned for their green cards while they were here in the United States, not while you guys were married and abroad. So you've already gone through this process of vetting, have the United States vet them. Are you a little hesitant in this new change enhancement to the law, whether they're going to come back around and look in your cases? I'm just curious.
Mine's too old. She's already a citizen, so nothing can be done about that. So,
okay,
they want to ship her back. I might help Trump. Hey, Trump
no, don't put that out on the net, bro. Don't even go there.
Yeah, but for that action, it's a little too late. But I was looking at some of the law. It might hurt some of the guys who legitimately trying to bring somebody over, because from what I understand, they can revoke them, without any evidence, and that might affect guys who really have a serious intention and really trying to get something started. So,
I don't know. I think the guy that actually so-called break the news, this dude don't even fucking travels. I'm sorry. This dude, he's a panderer, and he made it seem like Passport Bros won something really amazing. And I'm like, bro, relax. You kind of sensationalizing this so-called announcement where it's a big win for the Passport Bros. Let's just keep it brutally honest. Most guys are not getting married with women overseas. Let's just keep it brutally honest.
Call it out, bro. Call it out.
I'm just tired. You know what? Listen, I'm just tired of the bullshit. I'm just tired of it. And again, if anyone want to push back, you're more than welcome to join. Jump on the live and push back. But
yeah, the panel will be
open about, hey, if she does something wrong, and now you can just ship her back. I'm like, really? Like, really? So it's gonna be an interesting topic. I'm just letting you know I'm sober. I'm eating some watermelon. Got my knife. And honestly, look, it's bullshit. It's complete bullshit, because we all know the majority of these passport bros are traveling to bang pros and not get married. So let's keep it a buck.
Facts. And we're going to get into that. But let's play some segments of the breakdown of the true meaning of this law. And that's why I threw the passport bro name in there. And we might have the passport bro himself show up. No excuse, passport bro podcast show up on the panel. I also invited him. So let me play this first part just to explain portions of the law. The red flags are going to be looking at how quickly they can pause everything and send you guys out notices to appear and all these other things. But here's the first segment. We're going to go ahead and play this.
Based green cards just became one of the toughest paths to U.S. residency. These changes don't just slow you down, they could send you straight into deportation proceedings. A sweeping policy shift from USCIS is reshaping the rules for thousands of couples, and it's not just for future applications. Even those who filed months ago are now under the microscope. If you're married to a U.S. citizen or planning to apply, this is not the same process you thought you knew. In the next few minutes, we'll walk through exactly what's changed, who is most at risk, and how you can protect your case from denial. The immediate rule change. On August 2nd, 2025, USCIS quietly updated its internal policy manual, but the impact is anything but quiet. This update imposes tougher vetting, mandatory interviews for most applicants, and a stricter fraud detection process. Officers have been directed to begin each case from a standpoint of suspicion, assuming nothing and requiring proof at every step. What's even more important to understand is that these rules are retroactive. That means if you filed your application earlier this year, even as far back as April or May, your file could be pulled for additional review under these new guidelines. This is not a soft rollout. It's already active, and thousands of couples are feeling the effects right now. Why this matters now? The marriage-based green card process has never been quick, but it was relatively straightforward for genuine couples. Now, with over 11 million immigration cases in the USCIS backlog, the agency is under pressure to both clear cases and prevent fraud. Instead of prioritizing speed, the focus has shifted to thoroughness, and in practice, that means more delays. Before, if you missed a document or submitted something incomplete, you often had a chance to fix it with little long-term damage. Under the new rules, missing evidence is no longer treated lightly. It can weaken your case permanently and even push you toward a denial.
Yeah, the only bad thing about this can affect people who are real legitimately in the game. Right. I say that because I'll give you an example of what happened with our process. You know, ours was going on like through COVID. They just kept delaying it every year. It got to the point that she was already here long enough that she could request citizenship.
Right.
Just because every time we went to renew, you get a 2-year green card, and that 2-year green card can turn into a 10-year green card. Well, she never got to that because it just never renewed. It was always, we're just going to renew this paper and we'll talk about it next year. Well, when the actual appointment came, the appointment for her citizenship, it's like, well, you coming for your citizenship. So I didn't have to show up. And I was like, well, I gotta go to Vegas. We had a big conference. And so when she went in, they were like, well, where your husband at? It's like, they said he ain't had to come. It's like, no, he's supposed to be here. It's like, look, you know, here we done called. Y'all said this is for something else. So they tried to have both the interview and citizenship done at the same time, which was completely.
That's a lot of pressure on her, really. Not more.
Oh yeah, that's what she was. She stood there and was like, you know, she was cussing them out because she said, what she did. Because I was like, I'm already gone. I'm like, I'm in Vegas. I can't return. We had already made several phone calls, and this was, you know, so this wasn't about that. But according to this, they could have just said, well, we denying you anyway, without no procedure or no paperwork, because it didn't go through the process. Now, this was no fault on us. This was a fault on them. But, you know, according to this, they could have just said, well, he's not here, you're not there, or something looks suspicious.
Now it looks kind of funny at
Correct.
that point.
And they were asking them, they're like, well, why don't y'all have kids yet? And one process through our thing was I moved to Texas without her. Because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna stay. So there was like a year. And it was they questioning that. And they asking her about bills, and she's like, I don't pay no bills. I don't have none of that covered.
Yeah.
So they could actually, due to a fault of their problems and their issues, cause harm to other people just because they're not following their own process.
Yeah. What about you, Kano?
I mean, the process kind of new to us. We followed Fearless suggestions, so we did it ourselves. It was very thorough. We took our time, made sure we read all the lines, read all the important documents. We made sure we documented everything, got all the required documents that's required for it. And yeah, you're right. You could easily slip up in the process because if you're not thoroughly reviewing all the documents, ensuring that you have all the stuff you need before you submit it, even payment, you got to be mindful as far as how you're making payments, because now this whole notion of that, hey, she's here for a green card is not cheap. Like, it's going to cost you about $10,000 to $12,000, $14,000.
Wow.
As of last year, they actually increased the original cost. What Fearless paid actually tripled for me.
Wow.
So keep that in mind in regards to when people want to say, oh, she's here for a green card. Who has $14,000 to $15,000 cash to pay up front? And again, they want a payment, not monthly payments, a full payment. When you go to a certain doctor, they have their own doctor. You got to go do exams, and those doctor exams cost about $700.
Wow.
For each person. So again, this whole thing that is easy is not. And now with the whole new administration and all these stricter guidelines, it's going to be hell for anyone to bring anyone here. But if you do it right and you are very thorough in the process, you have no issues.
Okay.
I think what it's probably trying to stop is the cousins who get married, or the pay, hey, I'm gonna pay you some money to go ahead and let's get married. And there's really
arranged marriages. And believe me, a lot of military guys, we had contract quote unquote marriages. We wanted that extra pay on our line item. You got extra benefits. You had extra money for off-base housing and other bennies as a military guy, because we were so underpaid. A lot of guys in the 80s and 90s, we were doing contract marriages. I wasn't one, but there was a lot of contract marriages going on in the military alone. So some of these rules, like I said, just to answer Drew's question, this is policy change. It's not a new law. Yeah, it's absolutely an enhancement to an already existing law, but they're framing it like it's a new law. It's not a new law. It's an enhancement of the original law. But I'm going to go through, because you guys touched on some points, the application process and how to prepare for it, and then missing documents and what that could actually entail, and how it could hold you up or get you a denial automatically.
If you're starting your application, treat it like it's your only shot. Here are concrete steps to give yourself the best chance. Collect 3 to 4 months of joint financial records before you file: bank accounts, leases, insurance policies, utility bills, and tax returns if possible. Build a strong photo record. Show different times, places, events, clothing, and seasons. Prepare detailed affidavits from friends and family. These should include specific memories and facts about your relationship, not vague statements. Organize your evidence. Use labeled tabs, exhibit lists, and a logical order to make review easy for officers. Be consistent and truthful. Even minor contradictions can lead to doubts and further investigation. Include evidence of ongoing daily life. Shared Amazon orders, grocery receipts, travel itineraries, and joint memberships can all help. Why this is more than just paperwork. This isn't simply a matter of sending in more forms. The new policy reflects a mindset shift at USCIS, one where fraud detection is the starting point, not the backup plan. Every couple must now prove the authenticity of their relationship from day one. For many, That means gathering and presenting evidence you may have never thought to collect before. It's not about overloading the officer with paper. It's about giving them a complete, consistent, and credible picture of your life together. This change is more than a bureaucratic update. It's a cultural shift in how USCIS approaches marriage cases. Genuine couples now face the same intense scrutiny that used to be reserved for suspected fraud cases. In this environment, preparation is everything. Think of your green card application like a legal trial. Your relationship is the case, your evidence is the proof, and the officer is the judge.
Yeah, so one thing I don't think a lot of people understand or know is, they got all the records of when you travel, where you went, where they went, where your address is, and they want that information. But I think one thing I do want to correct is I think that let's just say things went awry. I think in people's mind that, oh, I brought this girl back. We got married for 2 years and now she left me. She got to go back. No, she don't got to go back. She can state once she's crossed that threshold from that 2-year visa to the 10-year visa, and she leaves you, even if she got here immediately, and she can say that all my intentions was to get married, or I got married and I was being with him, but he physically abused me. He financially abused
that's
me.
A red flag, right? Yes. Those will get
something
you
like that. They're not going to send her back because she can say my intentions were there.
Yeah.
I'm where I want to be. And now, this is what happened. And I filed a police report, whatever. Oh, they're not going to send her back. So guys think, oh, she can just leave. She can say, he got me up here. Now, what
I'm being held
lie about other things.
Yes. Yes.
So I think in guys' minds, they thought, oh man, she used me. Yeah, if she plays it right, she can still do that.
Right. You know what? Sorry about that. I want to chime in what Phil just mentioned about the whole domestic violence, financial abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. They could use that against you.
Yes.
And I've seen, again, I'm from a Caribbean community where I lived, and I've seen that been used plenty of times. And guess what? She or he has the right to stay in this country once they file that police report against you. Yeah. So this whole thing about, everyone trying to sensationalize, oh, now you could just send her back, just call ICE. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. Because the thing is, if she had goodwill intentions to marry you and start a family, but you didn't check your attitude, you didn't check your ego, or you feel insecure that, you don't want any other guy to look at her, she has every right to stay here. So this whole notion that, they can be sent back. Now, granted, if you get caught lying, both of you guys get caught lying, how you guys met, showing proof and everything else, then yeah, she has to go back, or he has to go back.
She's got to go back, and you might be going to the Fed. Let's put it that way.
I mean, I want to say he and she, because a lot of women are going overseas marrying guys in those countries and going back here.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of women making arranged marriages too.
And the whole domestic violence, the financial abuse, emotional abuse is real, and they could use that against you. Especially if they have a couple of police reports against you, restraining orders. Oh, that's it. She's staying.
Yeah.
And she could lie about it too. She has enough evidence against you.
A lot of them come up with that strategy as well. Let me go ahead and play what happens if you're missing a document real quick, and then we'll get in red flags, and we'll finish it up with a real life case, and then we'll go ahead and open up the panel. Okay.
Filings. This is one of the biggest traps under the updated rules. In the past, a missing document often led to a simple request for evidence, RFE. Now, an incomplete or disorganized file can lead directly to denial, and in some cases, a notice to appear in immigration court. That's not just a rejection. It's the start of removal proceedings. And under the new policy, you might not have the option to simply refile your case with the missing information. The margin for error is much smaller, and a single oversight could end your application permanently.
That's what happens if you're missing paperwork. So, I I can just see some possible power-hungry immigration officers or people with the paperwork like, yo, no nonsense, cut or dry. I either am going to play with you and go ahead and try to get this paperwork through properly, or they're just going to say, nah, we're going to go ahead and start proceedings. We're going to set up a date for you to appear and just move on like that, because they're just trying to get through whatever they got to get through to get their paperwork done. Somebody has a bad day in that immigration office, you might be the one having to pay based on their patience level.
One thing is, I want to say, if you are considering to do this and you are considering using a lawyer, make sure you vet that lawyer. It's a lot of scheming lawyers out there, especially in those countries. They'll drag it as much as they can so they could actually get money from you. Guys and ladies, the process is not that difficult. Just take the time and read it. And now with ChatGPT, you could just ask ChatGPT, hey, what do I need for this license? And it's not that difficult.
I wasn't paying no lawyer, man. When she get gone there, and then I don't know what this is in people's minds that they're like, oh, just have them write a letter, like for this tourist visa or whatever. They're like, your sponsor just need to write a letter. Man, they don't look at no look. I ain't never seen them look at no letter. Like they want you to write this letter to say, oh, this person is coming here to do this and this. They don't even look at that. So they got this concept in their mind that helps out. That does absolutely nothing. Now, I will say what it may help out, and it may help in the sense of this. You thought you was marrying someone you didn't know. So they gonna vet them a little bit harder to let them know that, oh wait, who is this person you're really marrying? You know, what has been their profession for the last few years? How have they taken care of themselves? You know, you haven't worked and you got a kid and there's no source of income. Well, how was you supporting yourself? Because there's a whole checklist of things that you say that you can't have done. You know, like, oh, I couldn't have been a past terrorist. I couldn't, and even that's escorting business. You're not going to bring you in this country. So in the only sense is it may help you because they're going to vet that person a little harder to find out who they are instead of just accepting your word for it or their word for it.
I mean, to be honest, their own country will drill them. Their own country will interrogate them. Their own country will deny them from getting any papers. Not the U.S. Sometimes be their own country that actually interrogate them so bad to the point where they're instantly denied. So getting a tourist visa, getting any type of visa from that particular country to travel is not as easy as everyone think it is. You got to show income. You got to show a profession. You got to show that, hey, you're willing to come back or you providing real intentions of doing something. If you're not, they're going to catch you. And trust me, what I've seen in the Dominican Republic, they drill you. And they will ask you the same question 10 times in different ways. And if that person you dating is not that bright, hey, there's a lose-lose for everybody.
Right. All right, let's look at some of the red flags, which we hear all the time, but let's go ahead and clarify what they see as red flags when they go through this paperwork.
Cases. The updated policy manual includes a detailed list of situations that will trigger heightened scrutiny. While these do not automatically prove fraud, they put your application into what's called a high-risk profile. Common red flags include a large age gap between spouses, especially if there's limited shared history, a very short dating period before marriage, marriage soon after entering the U.S. on a tourist visa or other short-term visa, lack of shared financial accounts, leases, or insurance policies, photo evidence that appears staged, repetitive, or taken all on the same day, limited interaction with each other's families or communities. For example, if your photos together are all from one wedding day in the same outfits, that might raise eyebrows. Officers now look for variety, different events, seasons, locations, and appearances that show a relationship over time. Interviews now the norm. One of the most noticeable changes is that almost all applicants can expect an in-person interview. Before, strong cases sometimes received an interview waiver, especially for couples with children or extensive joint documentation. That's now rare. For flagged cases, the interview process itself is becoming more intense. Couples may be separated and questioned individually, something that used to happen mainly in Stokes interviews, which are reserved for suspected fraud cases. Each spouse is asked the same set of personal questions, and their answers are compared in detail. Even small differences, like the color of a living room couch or the name of a favorite restaurant, can be flagged for further investigation. Home visits and surprise checks. The increase in home visits is another major shift. USCIS officers can now arrive unannounced, either before or after your interview, to verify that you're living together. During these visits, they may check how your clothes are stored, look for shared mail or bills in both names, inspect the layout of the home for signs of cohabitation, ask casual questions about your daily life. While this might sound invasive, it's now part of the standard toolkit for officers. If something doesn't add up, for example, if one spouse's clothes are missing entirely or if utility bills are only in one name, that can damage your case.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you this. I forgot about this. So, I moved from my place. I didn't know if I was going to accept when my company moved, I didn't know if I was going to accept my position. So I came down here. Like I said, when she went to the interview, I wasn't there. She said they had a picture of her leaving our old house, like a random picture. And she was like, where y'all get this picture at? So, we didn't have, the thing is, we didn't have no in-person interview. We didn't have that. We were able to skip all of those. Like, I've never had an interview with immigration. I've never talked to anyone from immigration. But she said when she went, they had a picture of her, like a investigative picture of her leaving the house, which is crazy. So don't think just because someone isn't there, they're not following. So that is true, where they would know it. But and again, think about this though. If you've been with somebody and somebody says, well, what's your, like, I couldn't say what my favorite restaurant is. You with somebody so long, you're like, I don't know. Shit. I don't know where she eat at. Shoot, I don't know the color of my couch.
I see you in the background, Globe Surrender. We'll bring you up in a second. We're almost done.
So those little clues that, they got you. One, if you're trying to lie, it looks like it's rehearsed. And I know that people that do that, when they're talking about the pictures, they go somewhere and they take a picture and they look and this, and it's all on the same time just to say we've been together. And it's on that same visit that whenever they came down, that one visit, all of that happens. Yeah, they crack down on that.
Sorry, we have pictures on the first day we met 10 years ago, and we showed that picture. They're like, "Damn, you guys still look the same from 10 years ago."
I had hair back then. What you talking about?
And the thing is, we took that picture in Santo Domingo, and that picture is like, wow, this is our first picture. And they scrutinize everything. So that's why when people say it's easy to get papers, no, it's not, man. It's not. And trust me, they are investigating. I won't be surprised if they came out here towards my area and took pictures or evidence of me. I mean, I don't know. I don't care. I have nothing to hide.
Right. That's the biggest thing right there. People have things to hide, or they're doing something on the low that they're trying to get around when it comes to the system. Let me play this one real case study, and we'll bring up Globe Spinner and then some of the other invitees. If you're in the room, hit the links that I sent you through your email or through your WhatsApp.
New rules. Here's a clear example of how this plays out. A foreign national entered the U.S. on a tourist visa, married a U.S. citizen within 2 weeks, and filed for a green card. In the past, this timeline might have triggered some questions, but nothing too extreme. Now, that same case is considered automatic high risk. The application was flagged immediately, a home visit was scheduled before the interview date, and the couple's case was placed under active fraud review. Even though they claim their marriage is genuine, the short timeline and lack of long-term joint evidence were enough to put them through months of extra checks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a case study right there.
And I know, and they changed it. I know a girl that came here and then she didn't leave. And then, later on she got married. And, you never know. But here's where I think some guys might fall into it. One of the obligations is you have to have financial records. So just imagine you make some money, but you might do some barber, or you might do something like that. So you don't claim all the money that you make. Well, now when it comes to I have to show paperwork that I financially support someone. You ain't filed taxes in years. You don't have no W-2s. You just working, you barbering, you cutting, and you putting a little bit in and showing you just barely making it. All that's going to come back to bite you later on. Or, you don't have a lease with their name on it, or they don't have no bank account or something like that. All that can come back to really bite the person because they were scheming to save money on the front end.
Okay. I got a question for y'all, because this is something I have to consider myself, being a little behind you guys. When you guys decided to get married, did you decide to get married in the home country of the woman that you were with, or did you get married here within the continental United States and then start going through the process, versus meaning you got married overseas and you went through the process of bringing them here and then filing for her citizenship and her green card? What process and which way did you guys go?
You want to go first, Kanal? I think.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll go. I proposed in her country, and of course, I had my son in her country, so I did all the paperwork starting there. Once I came to the States, that's when I started applying, and we got married here in the States. So we started the process while in DR, where we filed for the F1 visa. I mean, sorry, the K1 visa, So we came here on a fiancé visa, and once we got here, within 30 days went to the courthouse, knock it out, went to Chili's, call it a day. And,
now the K1 visa, for clarification, is a 90-day visa, and in that 90 days, you're obligated to get married to the person you're bringing.
Correct.
Over. Okay.
Correct. So we did it within 30 days. I mean, we kind of knew we was going to get married. I already had a kid, so it was like, all right, cool. So went to the courthouse. It was simple. Just did a court wedding. After that, we all went to Chili's, had some burgers and fries, and that's it. Started our life from there. And then, of course, we started the paperwork process. And now she's pretty much in the process of getting all of her documents. Like right today, she got a driver license. So, yeah, we're moving forward. So things are picking up really fast. And yeah, no regrets, man. No regrets.
How is your specific situation with dealing with the immigration officers and interviews and all your paper permission? Are they giving? Are they have attitudes or?
No, if anything, because I always leave with Black Man Travels, so that kind of breaks the ice with a lot of people. And once they realize that he seemed like a cool, interesting person, it kind of breaks the ice. Because I remember we had one interview with this one lady. Boy, she had this pit bull look in her face. I'm like, shit.
Right.
And my girl was all nervous, but I'm coming in all smiling, like, just talking shit. And next thing you know, we started talking about our trip to El Salvador. Because we've been to El Salvador, we've been to Colombia. So I started talking about that. And by just having that icebreaker, it made everything easy. Even like when we went through the whole customs when we first came here, same thing. Talk to a police officer, the custom officer. Again, I'm breaking the ice with him. Once he realized, like, okay, hey, you know what? Just go. You're done. So it really depends. If you look scared, nervous, tense, I think that could raise red flags. But if you're comfortable talking to people, like for me, that's what I do for a living. I love to talk to people. So I leave with that, and I make her feel comfortable, make her smile. Like, hey, make everyone feel comfortable in the process, and that's it. But if you look suspicious, you look hesitant, or you have an attitude, and they could pick that up, yeah, that could raise some red flags for you.
Okay. Fearless?
Yeah, we would have been flagged. We wouldn't have made it.
So did you get married here in the States? Or how did you do yours?
It was here, but here go one of the issues. So she had already been approved for the visa to come to the States, but she wanted
K1 visa or the bigger visa?
It's the K1. The K1 visa.
Okay, so you did the 90-day as well.
Correct. But what happened was she wanted to finish school. She was graduating, so she wanted to go ahead and make sure she went to a graduation. So she came up, and it was just kind of like a bad time. Not a bad. It was a bad time.
The timing was bad.
Yeah, my father was sick. He had suffered from COPD, and he passed right around the 90-day mark that she was here. And so, I was more worried about, hey man, I got to go visit my dad. I got to go, take care of all of this. So we went past the 90 days. It was like, that just wasn't a concern at the time. It was like, I got to take care of some things with him. So we actually went past it. And so it was like, oh man, what's going to happen now? What would take place? I didn't want to get married on the day my dad passed away. That just wasn't going to make sense. So I'm just thinking how the scrutiny could have changed, where they could have said, well, you've been here past 90 days. But ours, it was a crazy process because we never really she never seen anybody. It was change of status over the mail. Because when you get, and this is how they get you got a lot of fees that happen. So there's a fee to bring someone up here. There's a fee you have to pay for their medical. All of that has to be done at their doctors. You get married, then you have to do what they call a change of status fee from a K1 to like it's like a temporary visa. You pay that fee. Then you paying another fee for them to stay. So it's always
a rough estimate, because I know the people don't know what these fees and the dollar amounts we're talking about. I know the fees have probably changed since you guys have done it. Estimated, where were those fees at? And the hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars? Oh, yeah. Where were you at with these fees?
Hundreds.
Kanal knows the new one, because when we came through, it was a little different. What was easier was if you filed all the paperwork simultaneously, meaning I file for a change of status. I could not only get the change of status, I could get a travel visa and a work visa simultaneously. So you didn't pay an extra fee. Like say if the fee was $1,200, that $1,200 included the travel fee. Because remember, when they come up here, they can't leave, because if they leave, they don't have the paperwork. Yeah, they can't come back.
3 years?
No, it's just they don't have the paperwork. You have the paperwork to enter the United States the first time.
Right.
If they leave before their status and that travel visa, there's no paperwork to get them back. They leave and they stuck. So there's no traveling at all. There's no type of work visa, any of that. And I think she got a social that said like this is not intended for work or something like that. So that you cannot,
like number, like a TANF number or something.
Correct. So you cannot leave. I think now when Kanal did it, they actually separated all the fees, where you paying separate fees for each of them. Hey. So Kanal, what was the updated price?
Oh, I was averaging about $700
every time.
For a lot of fees. For every new fee, at least 500 plus. And of course, you have the actual license, not the license, but the application submission. That was about $6,000 upfront. So yeah, it's super expensive. It's not as easy as everyone said. They have their own doctors, and to do the doctor was like $400 per person. It's crazy, man. They're making their money. Oh, yeah. So again, this whole notion that you want to bring somebody here into this country is not as easy as everyone think it is. And again,
they got the fingerprints. They call it the bio.
Oh yeah, the fingerprints. You're paying for that. You're paying for everything. Literally, you're paying for everything.
Ooh, all right. We're gonna welcome the first person to our panel. We're hoping No Excuse hits the link and comes up. He has it in his WhatsApp. Globe Spinner, you want to introduce yourself, and whether you want to introduce your situation, go ahead and introduce yourself to the panel and the listeners. He's going to have a delay, folks, because he's on Starlink in Alaska right now.
It looks warm in Alaska.
Yeah, that green screen working miracles. Globe, can you hear us? That's a major delay with Starlink. Swear to God. There he goes. All right,
I think immigration came and got him. They snatched him up.
Hey, in Alaska, what you mean immigration can't get him
Hey,
yet?
it don't matter, man. You know, Putin was just there.
Delays in the internet for me. Okay. If you can work that out real quick, start and with the Starlink system and all that, Globe, you're more than welcome to come back on the panel. I don't know if we want to just go ahead and drop the link for everybody that
but
has.
I think when I heard this, Ronan, to be honest, I heard the guy saying, "Oh man, this is better for passport bros."
Right. Yeah, he was hyping it.
When I looked into the law, it did not. It just seemed on the front end, they're doing what the guy should have done in the beginning. They just vetted the person. The guy, you should have vetted this person already. But I think the way it was portrayed was, you get this girl here, she start tripping, you can send her back. Yeah.
Right.
You have no control over that. You have nothing you can say. You can say, yeah, she tricked me, she did that, but there's no control to send somebody back. And then you can question it, and especially the first 2 years, you can say, man, there's something that happened that can become a question, right? Because I know some guys that what they do is they get here and then they threaten the person to say, all right, well, I just won't show up to the interview. They can basically show up on their own and say, look, I'm here, I came with all intentions, and now I'm being blackmailed, where they won't show up because of they want me to do A, B, and C. But the way this was spoken about and the way that this guy stated it was almost though, if
all about the passport,
she start tripping, I don't like the attitude. She done went from feminine to masculine. That's my excuse, and I can just send them back. That's not really how that's going to work. I mean, I think you have some flexibility in the first 2 years, but after that, you really downhill. Because once that conditional green card, comes in after that, because she can apply. I'm looking at the law now. It says, if she bails on the marriage within the first 2 years, she can apply for a waiver, proving that she came here in good faith, she was abused or battered, or she would suffer hardship if she was deported.
And that's why that guy that made that news, the so-called breaking news, he's pandering to the passport bros, thinking that they have a leverage, and you really don't.
Right. And that was the whole key of, do they have a leg up? They absolutely do not. It's an enhancement of the law, which makes it stricter for the ones that actually are doing this and going about this the right way and everything else. It's an enhancement of that already existing law that makes it tougher, because guys don't know how to vet. And I can tell you that from military guys on, for generations, guys do not know how to vet properly.
And that's the real question right there. That's the real
question. Let me tell you this. I went down, I was in Colombia, I was in Bogota a few weeks ago, and I met with a gentleman who is also a content creator. Now, he's been married. He's been living there for a few years, living there, married to a Colombian. He has been denied, or she has been denied, a visa to come to the United States.
I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but I'm sure whatever questions they're asking in those interviews, she's not doing what she needs to do.
You get what I mean? I was under the impression that basically, hey, I'm married, I live with the person for these many years, I'm living in your country. Why can't that change? So I said, man, there's something not going on? Because he was saying,
Something
well, we
not
apply for a tourist visa. And I'm like, why a tourist visa? You need to apply for a different
the
type.
K1, yeah.
Yeah. So
And you're serious about bringing her in there, and you're gonna get, if you're not,
Or
you're already
maybe,
at that point.
or
Yeah.
maybe he's not really married to her.
I can tell you this from the Filipinos aspect in the Philippines, it's tough to even get a Filipina out of their country because they're so heavily exploited worldwide as Filipinos that it's really tough to get a Filipina out of the country. A lot of times, even if you're just going on a general trip to Thailand or something from the Philippines, sometimes the immigration officer will not allow that Filipina to even leave because they think they're being exploited. So it's tough enough just to get him out of the country, let alone bring him into America and start that process. So, even with my lady here, we're going through that process of learning each other. We're documenting a lot of things. We've been talking for almost a year and a half just on the phone and through video chats. I've met her family. She's had several conversations with my mom and my family. So all that documentation has already started with proving this is a legitimate relationship. And the things that are going on within our family relationships, her family, my family, her family's always coming over and dropping off food and very kind-hearted and welcoming people. So, getting that established early and long, and we have a huge age gap. So again,
that's
that red flag,
that's what they're going to hit you with.
That's going to be one of the hugest things to prove that age gap is not a situation for us. And so I already know those flags that I already have to look out for. And like the video said, early documentation, often documentation on pictures and organizing how you guys have grown your relationship. They're going to look at everything, social media pages, everything, your conversations in chat. Nothing is off limits. You can't deny them access to anything. You get what I mean? If you're about bringing them in, you better be aware that they're going to look at everything.
I think for guys, like I said, man, most of these guys aren't really looking to bring somebody back. But here's the trick. All right, most of the guys aren't really wanting to bring somebody back.
Why don't you make this statement? We're going to bring up no excuse. So he's going to verify what passport bros are looking for. So go ahead.
And number two is I've seen guys, which is the weirdest thing. We just talked about it. When I was in Brazil, when we were in Brazil, just on the strip, there was what we call her, a lady of the night. And she's back. She's in the United States. Oh, she living large.
How'd she get here?
Married to a dude who got a little money. And so I can't understand how that happens where someone who has done that for so long can get it and someone who has been here cannot, which makes it so difficult. But I would tell guys, do this, man. Look, get you an OPAR, get you some money, and that might be the best way. Find, tell them to go get a job as a, au pair is a person who comes live with you and you pay him. That might be the best way to get them here and vet them, see what they like. They working, and then
I don't know. No excuse to tell you may be different because I think his first wife was an au pair for a while. That's how he met her.
Oh man.
So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna welcome No Excuse to the panel. Go ahead and unmute yourself, introduce yourself to the panel. I know you've kind of been listening in, and tell us your story. Either you want to talk about your first marriage to your Colombiana or wherever you're at with this conversation.
What's good, everybody? There's No Excuse. Check me out on Passport Bros podcast and No Excuse ENT, my travel channel. But just to kind of piggyback on what the guys were saying, and salute to y'all. How y'all doing this evening?
Doing good, man. How are
you? So I didn't go through the process of trying to do either a K1 or spousal visa. We did apply for a tourist visa before and after marriage. She got denied twice. The second denial, she said they kind of scrutinized her and said, why didn't you mention why didn't you mention you were engaged the first tourist visa she applied for, you know. So she said she got some scrutiny, you know, or something seemed kind of fishy, or whatever the case may be. But I kind of think that she went in an interview and with her own with how she was gonna approach questions, and I kind of told her like how she should approach it, and she probably, you know how women could be. They might be like, I think I should say this or do that. So I think she maybe dropped the ball, but they're never gonna tell you exactly how they answer certain questions. But and that could be another thing too, you know. Um, People take advice from other people, and you know, they may think that their advice is more accurate than what you think because you never been in an interview before. So what do you know, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why I just say tell the truth, man. It's
Yeah,
basically because if you tell the truth, you don't have to worry about what the truth is or what you said the last time or anything like that. But here's what I want people to understand, and this makes it even crazier. Your wife, before she was your wife, had basically lived in the United States, correct?
yeah. She was an au pair,
So,
and
and I
mhm.
asked that for this reason because my wife's sister uh, had gone here 5 times, like on work visas during the summer, and still got denied a tourist visa. So it seems strange that your wife lived here, so she knew she had been to the United States, returned back with no issues, but then when you ask for a tourist visa, that's denied. So
Right.
it would seem like it would be given. You've already been to the United States. You've proven that you would return with no issues, and now you want to come outside of type of work, and then they say no, we're not going to let you.
Yeah. I thought it was I thought it was going to be a for sure in the first time. Um, I think it could be a lot of reasons. Some people say, well, because she's black. They say it's they say it could be a race thing. Black people, it's a little, maybe a little harder. Maybe she didn't demonstrate financially because for the tourist visa, you have to kind of, you kind of have to demonstrate that, you have a financial reason to come back to Colombia. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but she said they didn't ask her for anything they didn't ask her too much financial stuff. So you just never know. You know what I mean? Most people go in that office leave with a denial. Go to those
Mm-hmm.
interviews, leave with a denial anyway. Um, Now to the question about K1 visa or spousal visa. Now I haven't heard this, but a guy could do this. He could sabotage his quote unquote soon to be wise interview. Let's say they get into it. Let's say they get into it. Let's say they get into it, or he kind of feel like she's changing a little bit closer to the interview. He could he could probably call them and sabotage her interview without her knowing. He might be like, "Oh, baby, you got denied." Like, damn, that's fucked up. But he really low key, he really low key sabotaged it somehow. You know,
So
I'm
you're
sure.
saying if a guy didn't want to come back to America, what he could do is kind of like sideswipe the whole interview process to even get her visa for approval to get here.
Yeah, just to say, hey, damn, we tried. Damn, we tried. You know what I mean? Like, damn,
But
because
the problem is like, why would you do that?
Exactly.
because some, it's situations where, if women are women, right? If you don't do a certain action, it's like they might make it seem like, okay, you don't love me enough to want to bring me to the U.S. and you don't, what I mean, you don't want to be put in that. Somebody may not want to be put in that light where they don't love their wife or they made certain promises to
So,
try.
so
But
basically,
objectively, hold up. I'm sorry. Objectively, if you're marrying her, you should already know what her long-term goals are, whether she wanted to stay in that country or move abroad back to your country. that should already had you should already had that conversation, right?
No, but that's something like he's playing the whoop-de-whoop, you know, like, girl, I wanted you there, but they didn't want you. So they really didn't want you there.
He's doing the typical thing that most guys do. They go there and sell these dreams. The most common thing that a lot of guys do. They sell these dreams just to get some ass, and they realize they can't keep selling this dream, so they'll do something this stupid. But and that's why I always tell guys, just be upfront with your intentions. You just want to go out to these places and just smash, let it be known. Don't try to sell a dream or a promise, because it never ends well. Never. And fall in love, instantly meeting someone, and you're proposing within a year and all this stuff. I'm like, really? You don't even do that in the States, so why are you doing it overseas?
Yeah. It's I like I said, I'm just throwing that notion out there. Like, I never heard nobody say that they, sabotaged, or, what I mean, but I could see, I'm sure it happened before. I'm sure out of hundreds of thousands of petitions, I'm sure it happened before.
My thing is, and what I'm thinking about, if it goes that far, is being married here in the country versus being married in the United States as the first option, and then bringing her back after we're already married. Mm-hmm. What's the variance, and why did you guys decide to do it here in America versus going through the rigmarole in that country and proving that you've been married there and then bringing her back as a whole wife? If there's a fee difference, what was the encouragement of you doing it the way you guys did it by bringing them both back here on K1s versus bringing them back as full initiated spouses?
It takes longer.
You're not bringing them back. See, here's the thing. You're not bringing them here as a full spouse. So my thing was, we're going to do this 90 days, and I really get to see what's up, if we, how we going to fit into this. If you married there, you already married, so you leave, come back. You don't know really what's going on. And then you still might have the illusion that things are all right, and they're not. So you can't get out of. You can get out of there.
I'm a different mindset, because you guys had to go back because of work or whatever your motivation was. I'm more on a retirement end, so I'm not.
For you, it's no benefit. Meaning you're there. You're living there. You're not just coming like for a month or a few weeks and then going back. So you actually, for you, it can be beneficial. But here's the only problem I see. You could get married, Ronan, and you'd be like, all right, baby, we married. We've been, married for like 2 years, and now I want to go back home. They can deny her the visa to come there. And then you're like, wait, hold up. Now, wait. Now I done got married. I'm trying to bring my girl back with me to the United States. How can you deny this visa? Or let's just say you even have a child. Now you could file, just like Black Man Travels did. You can file for your child to become a United States citizen. Right. So imagine that your child can leave,
but she can't. Right.
So it becomes tricky to say, all right, because at some point you may say, I'm married and I would really like to, I've lived in your country and now I want to go back to my country. Just say medical reasons, say anything. You go back, you get sick, and you're like, man, now I need my wife to come here to help me out because I can't travel. Now you're stuck. What happens?
No, I mean, that same situation happened to the owner of this property, bro. He's a navalman officer. He got out. He started working overseas, building. He's an engineer, building hotels in these extravagant places. He married a Filipino he met in Japan. As a foreign overseas worker. So she was able to travel back and forth, brought her this home. They've been denied 4 times.
Man.
He still hasn't gotten her back to the States yet. So I'm asking, what did she do to keep getting these denials?
I know of a denial, and I want to answer the question too, even though I got married in Colombia. Mm-hmm. And but I do know a guy that had petitioned for a woman from the Dominican Republic, and she got denied. Her drug test came back positive for marijuana. So she fucked up. And she was a pro. She used to be a pro anyway, so you know what I mean. He kind of, well, I ain't gonna say he dodged the bullet. He ended up having a baby with her anyway, but she didn't. She wasn't able to come to the U.S.
Can we stop before you finish your story? No excuse.
Yeah.
Why a lot of guys doing that, going to these countries and hooking up with pros and marrying them? Why is this happening? Because I personally know several guys who did that.
Oh yes.
And I'm like,
military is famous for it.
I mean, wedding in Sasua, wedding and these are bona fide Facebook pros.
Bruh.
And
you gotta help me out with this, man. I'm telling you, we were sitting in. There's two people we know that we discuss. Me and the wife discuss. One, we were sitting at the bar, and I remember the girl just talking and bragging because she was like, "Well, I got to leave Copacabana because whoever her man was, he calls and he doesn't like me there." Now she had bragged about in one day being with like 5 dudes simultaneously. So he had to know what she was. That's one. The other girl, she's Brazilian too. I think she's like in Spain now because, you know, the wife sees them on Instagram. And she like in Spain with the dude. I mean, they traveling. He knows. And this is how we knew. Me and her were at the Atlantic Hotel. I just remember this one thing. We were there with a group of guys, or I was there, and there was a group of guys. And the guy was like, "Oh, yeah, that's my girl. You know, how much I like her." We looking out the window. They had left. Like they say they left on a Monday. We just looking at the ocean out the window. And she's like, "Ain't that your friend?" I was like, "My friend? Who's my friend?" It was the black girl. She had already had another dude she walking down the street with. And I'm like, this is crazy. This dude was just saying how much in love he was. And she's like, you gone. It's another day. But the same dude she walking with, she over in Spain with, she's here with. It's like, I can't understand the mentality. They don't look. If you get on here and say you a 304 and you ain't gonna find nobody, that is the biggest lie ever told by passport bros. Because there is a passport bro out there will not only date them, he will marry him, wipe him up, and bring him here.
And just like the whole single mom situation, a lot of these brothers are taking care of goddamn families, women, 6 kids and all. I've seen it all. I've been doing this shit for a long time. Don't believe a lot of shit what a lot of guys say because they do the total opposite, complete opposite. Dating girls with tattoos on their neck. Oh, they'll never date a sister here with tattoos, but they'll go overseas and date a little Pisces with a tattoo on her neck and a kid. So again, it's just, if you're traveling for fun, keep it that way. Don't try to go to these places trying to sell a dream.
Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna add to your question. So being married in another country, and you know, obviously, you know, I didn't like talking about like divorce during marriage, and I don't like putting that energy out there. But I realized that it was very complicated, you know, divorcing in another country. And if I could do it all over again, I would have just. It's better to get married in the United States, and I tell guys now that there's no if you're gonna live in her country, it's no point in marrying her if you're gonna live in her country because she not going nowhere if you marry her or not. You know, you only need to get married if you want to live in the United States because you have to get married. You know, so and I think Phyllis made a good point too. You want to make sure she can get over here because, you know, God forbid you are married in another country and she don't get approved, you know. And
my question, no excuse, is I'm just curious, and that's one item. How do you get divorced in the other country? I mean, say that you know you don't know the laws, you don't know where to go to. How do I do it? What if the wife says I don't want a divorce? she's like, I don't want one. I mean, how do you file? How do you navigate all of that? If that's what you want to do, but she's like, no, I don't want to. Now I could understand, and the reason I'm saying you want a divorce and not her, because if she wants a divorce, she's in her country. She kind of knows where I go to, what the procedures are, how I can dissolve this, because it's where she lives at. But you being a person who is not from there, and you say, no, I don't want this anymore. How do you navigate through all the ups, downs, in and out?
Good question. Colombia is one of the easiest countries to divorce internationally, even though it was a arduous process. Easy because everything is done through the notary in Colombia. They don't have like a courthouse. So the notary marries you, the notary divorces you, and so that's what makes it a little simpler. And you don't have to be present. So I had an attorney. Um, he drafted the clause basically saying that it was a mutual thing, so it wasn't like we didn't have kids, which was good, and then also it wasn't no assets that we had to like worry about. So it was pretty much a what we would say just a clean situation. um
What if there was? I'm just curious now. Just say you I don't know where she was living, but say you bought a house there, or there was a car there, or what could she have done? Could she have said, "Well, those I want that"? I mean, what would have been the repercussions?
Okay. Well, I remember one time she was talking shit. It was like, I know I could, I could get an attorney and, maybe try to see what she could pull out. She could have made it more complicated. If it was an event where I wanted a divorce and she didn't want to sign the power of attorney, then you know, it would have took like a year. It would have took like a year. They would have reached out to her, took a year, waited a year for her to kind of respond and answer to that. But if she was someone they couldn't get a hold of, or she never responded, then they would do a default. They would like do like what we would consider a default situation. Um, so it would have just delayed more time. But yeah, you can't you I could have still petitioned for divorce even if she wasn't compliant. It just would have taken it just would have taken more time and
Okay.
spent more money with the attorney, in that regard.
Yeah, I'd have to follow behind him and say, if you thought Colombia was easy, Philippines is even easier.
To get a divorce?
I thought
Yeah.
Philippines was hard.
Now, if you file here, but if you file in America, it's not. And since they don't have that law here, you have to file in America. The screwy part is if you were really pissed off at her, you could officially be divorced in America and she would still be officially married to you in the Philippines until you file that document with the Philippine government to release her from her marriage with you. So it's real goofy.
Yeah, I mean, people don't know this, but I don't want to put misinformation. But technically, you can divorce. I could technically file for divorce in the United States because
Yeah.
I'm a resident. I'm a resident in the United States, even though I never registered my marriage in the United States because she wasn't here to register it. Um, so I think I mentioned this before. Like a woman, if let's say if my wife at the time, let's say if she moved to the UK, let's say she moved to the UK, started a life, and we never got divorced. And the UK, she established residency in the UK, which it takes 6 months to establish residency. She wouldn't have to go back to Colombia to file for divorce. She could file for divorce in the UK, under a different legal structure, and they're just as westernized as the United States. So, so guys got to be mindful of that as well. Wherever a person established residency at, they can file for a divorce at.
So, and here's what I don't think a lot of guys know, and I just wanted to look this up to make sure. So I would say there is one good reason to get married in the other country, and never do it. There is a 2 K1 limit rule. So a U.S. citizen cannot file more than 2 K1 petitions in their lifetime.
Damn, but if you can't get it done in 90 days, then you do another one. 180 days.
No. For instance, you bring your girl, you filed a K1 visa, you're going to get married, you bring her here or whatever. Something happened that didn't work out. You got rid of her. Y'all didn't even get married. And you want to bring another girl up, another K1 visa. That's your limit. And you have to wait 2 years from the first time you file to file another one.
I mean, that's reasonable. How you falling in love that fast? That's a problem with you if you falling in love like that. But you trying to lock it down.
Well, no, you meet somebody, you was kind of like, oh, I was gonna go with this girl over here because she seemed good, and then man, you got played.
You're fucked though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but there's a 2 year there's a 2 year, I'm sorry, a 2-time
2-year gap
visa. So you get married, you're like, oh, that even if you, I guess that's even if you got married, because that's a K1. You get married, you get married for 4 years, you divorce, you go back to the country, you find another girl, you go to Thailand, get married, and you do that, and then all of a sudden you want to marry someone else. I'm sorry, brother. That was your limit. Or you didn't get married. It was just you filed for the K1 visa and it didn't work out.
Yeah, I heard it was a 2-year too. Even if you did the spousal visa, like you only allowed 2 marriages. Even if you did the spousal way. So, and that could be,
government tired of taking your money. Basically, you just a bad chooser.
Yeah, but you could be on a third marriage and you really find the one and you tell her like, baby, like I can't bring you to the U.S. because I done had two failed marriages. So,
wow, no excuse. You kind of looking in that direction, right?
What?
No, because he never filed for the K1.
He never filed the first time, so you still kind of.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of worked out for him because he got married there, but he never filed the paperwork for the K1.
Right.
Yeah. Now I'm curious with the Trump. Well, I guess under the Trump administration, like, what would they? What would be more favorable? To apply for a K1 or apply for a spousal visa? Or they probably scrutinizing both. But I'm just curious if K1.
Like they're saying, it's more prudent for me. Like I said, because I'm on retirement mode. I don't need to rush back to America because I need to make $1. I can do it remotely. Where people have that 90-day visa rules because they're still not fully retired. They have to be back in the United States. So they need to get it done. But the whole thing is, did you vet her long enough before you tried that 90-day visa? Because if you're done wrong,
the issue I would see would be with you, you want to take that step, you're there 2 years, you find out, oh, that's the person. And now you really want to travel to the United States. What do you want? Say your mother gets sick, God forbid, but now you want her to meet your mom. And y'all married, and now you can't go back. Or you say your children, you're like, I want, meet my children, or I just want to go back to the United States. Something happens over there, and you're like, yeah, this just not gonna work. I want to go back to the United States. And then you're married and you can't bring her back. And now what?
Yeah, that really sucks if she can't make it back. Yeah.
Yeah, if when I'm gonna say when I get married again, I'm gonna do the K1 route. One to make sure she could come, because it only makes sense to know that she could come, and then get married. Yeah, getting married overseas too, especially some of these less developed countries, like paperwork is hard. A lot of things not computerized, and
Believe me, these embassies are very hard vetting people. I mean, even to get your cinema to get married here in the United States, for the Philippines, you have to prove that you're not even married. First things first.
Yeah,
And she's got to prove that she's not married, because this is a no divorce country. So there's a lot of women that these dudes are messing around with that are married, that husband can come around and be spurned and all of a sudden off you, and it would be legal here. And it's happened. So you got to be very cautious about even the type of women you talk to in the Philippines. They had prior relationship, they got kids, whether they were married to the person they had that kid with. A whole bunch of things are going on here that you have to understand the underlying tones of dealing with those type of women. First things first. That cinema is a God-saving thing. You might want to pay for that to even see if she's even in a relationship. Some of them won't bring it up until they're serious about you. But got a whole nother relationship they can't get out of because there is no divorce.
No, what I would say, what people should look at too, is that even if she gets denied, you got to keep in mind too, like they looking out, the U.S. government looking out for their best interest, but they looking out for you too. Yep. They're looking out for you too. They may see some red flags that really you didn't see.
Correct.
You never know.
But I think that, one of the things was, I just think that, even when Ronan, you sent me that message from the guy, and I thought, oh man, that's kind of great. Man, you can get her over here. And I said, man, send them back. But that goes to show that what happens is propaganda versus facts.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
And there's a lot of guys out there who have never been through the process, who don't know anything about the process, who read one line on something and they've exaggerated the entire truth about how things are.
But look how much is blown up over all the other channels that didn't go back and do the fact checking like we did before we got on and said what we just said.
Correct.
They're all
I'm gonna
going
bring her back here. I'm gonna drop that. I'm gonna get married. She want to go back. I'm gonna do this. And they don't know the law. They don't know the limit of the law. They don't know anything like that. And they're just under this impression that I can get her over here. And if she act up, she going, because that's how it was presented.
Yeah,
if she changed. If she act up, you can get rid of her.
I mean,
and it's like, see, that's internet versus reality. And a lot of guys get their information off the internet without doing the real facts and background check. And all of a sudden, and not to get way off subject, I just was watching something on YouTube, and the guy was trying to get a car, and the police showed up. And he's like, "What? This is what they do said on YouTube. Like I could change my CIN, some number he could get, and use some, and he getting arrested for fraud." And he's like, "No, this is what you can do. Let me show you the video." Somebody just said something. He never investigated, and this is what he doing. And all of a sudden, he in cuffs. And the dude who told him that, like, he at home making another interview.
Right.
So you got to be real cautious about that.
I mean, guys like
and know the laws when you go there.
Guys like
go ahead.
No, guys like to be sold a fantasy. That's what it is. When I saw that so-called, again, when I saw that segment, I'm like, this dude's full of shit. Like, he probably didn't really take the time to read it. He wanted to jump on a bandwagon that, Passport Bro is a hot topic, and he wanted to use that to get some views. And I think he got over 100,000 views off of that. And the thing is, a lot of sorry dudes going to be listening to this, and they're going to take heed, and they're going to learn a very hard lesson. When you have people who giving you real information, real experiences, they get 5 views. But the ones that's selling a lie, a fantasy, they're getting the 100,000 views, and they're being sold and definitely being misled.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of spread that I kind of spread it around, you know what I mean, kind of jokingly. And one of my OGs was like, man, he's like you a person very intelligent, you vet stuff. He was like, why is you validating that? And I was just, man, I was like, I know it's not as good as what it seemed. It just sound good, you know. It's a feel good moment for passport bros, but like y'all said, in reality,
But is it
um,
really? Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Or are you walking yourself into a trap?
Yeah. It's only a feel good moment because you really didn't do your due diligence in the beginning, or we feel like you have an upper hand. Like, I mean, it really a vengeful thing. Like, she got over on me, and now I can get back at her. That's really what it comes down to. You know, she
but
she
we
got me.
we do got I would say this, and this is what I said. I said at least under Trump administration, you know, what I mean, the law they're going to be America first, you know, when it comes to marriage situations versus maybe a future administration because even in Colombia, if the United States was like Colombia and a lot of other countries, I had got the equivalent to a green card, but there's no with the green card it's 2 years conditional, and then after 5 years you can apply for a citizenship through a spouse in the United States. Over there is I gotta renew, and every time I renew my visa, she gotta write a letter, basically asking for them to grant me this visa. So she got to co-sign for it as well. Like my visa expired 2026, May 2026. You know, um, if it was my goal to immigrate to Colombia, and after that expired, like I would be
But
at the
see,
mercy of them.
but the whole thing is dudes are trying to do it the cheap way, and it winds up coming back and biting them in the ass. Same thing here in the Philippines, and I'm sure in every other country. You can go through the process of getting married, or you can establish a visa on your own 2 feet. What it costs you money to have to you put in the fucking bank. They have to hold on to it, and so on and so forth. But there are ways of getting around having to have a sponsorship of a local person in that country. Same thing here in the Philippines. Nice thing is they have a SRRV visa here, and that gives you a special residency visa where you don't have any sponsorship. Nobody's co-signing for you. Nobody has to give you approval. So if you have a falling out with your relationship and you have a problem with the person you came over here for, all of a sudden you're getting excommunicated out of the country you want to live in long term. But if you go
Well,
through the process of either doing a long-term visa through the government directly or getting a special visa or whatever visa without having anybody tied to it, you don't have to worry about who you're dating or what you might have a falling out with or feeling like you're trapped because the only way you got that visa was through that person.
well, I don't want to say push back, but I have a different look on that now, and I looked at it like that. But if if countries started being more Trump-like when it came to that, right? The marriage visa is the most respected immigration visa you can get in anywhere in the world. Over, all visas can get revoked, but the marriage visa holds the most weight. So even if you're in another country on a retirement visa, even we say here, I used to think the green card was a right, not a privilege. But the Trump administration is saying the green card is a privilege, not a right. Which
It
which
is.
which you know, and so a retirement visa, a business visa, that is not a right to have. And so that can be snatched more uh quicker. That would be more scrutinized more than a spousal visa, because some of these countries changed their laws too. Colombia even changed their retirement laws for people with pensions. They downgraded the visa. So I would say that the strongest visa to have in another country would be a spousal visa. Um, and then also if you started a family in another country, especially in one of these developing countries, for what men have told me is that these countries is not going to make you leave or not give you a resident visa if you have children, because they want you there to be able to take care of your children. So it's advantageous if you had a family in another country. You know, if you wanted to have that long stay visa.
I'm a hit back on you on that. One, if you're in a country that has that agreement, I forgot the name of the agreement. They don't care whether you're there or not. They can still petition your country to make sure you pay child support. So go ahead and have a baby in one of those countries if you want to. You're still going to be legally liable to take care of that child, whether you're in that country or not. Now, they do set limitations where you're not going to get raked over the coals because you're top 5 percentile in their country based on your income. They have minimum amounts of money that you pay for child support, regardless of how much overall money you make. So you're not going to get raked over the coals like you would in a westernized country, but you're still going to be legally liable if you're under that one agreement. I forgot the name of it, and I don't know, Fearless, if you can look it up.
The Hague Convention.
You're still going to be liable for that.
Well,
you know,
I'll push back because the countries that we travel to, well, we only could talk about the countries that a lot of that we're aware of and we know people and we experience.
Well,
so
Colombia, we know, is under the Hague Agreement, and so is Brazil.
No, so Colombia is not under the Hague. Brazil is, and I've known people married them. Brazil is the only country in the world where you get residency through your child. So that's null and void. You get residency through your child in Brazil, and then in Colombia,
it says Colombia is a party to the Hague Convention.
Thank you.
And I wonder, Hague Convention under what agreement? Because there's different. There's different agreements. There's got to be family court.
Here's the whole shiestiest thing about the United States. If they got your real name and some pertinent information about you, whether they're part of the Hague Agreement or not, they can still, if they have the wherewithal and the money, petition the United States government and say, hey, this dude left a child on me here in the United States, and they can petition the United States to take you to child support court and still collect money. Did you know that?
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about if you wanted to stay in that country. So if you wanted to stay in that country,
these dudes, loose lips, think ships. If you guys are going over there ignorant to facts, and you do certain things thinking you're going to get away with it, and these girls are on top of their game, you're not getting away with shit. They're going to get you. And a lot of these women are way more advanced in their talking points. They have their own little fucking group chats and everything else. Don't think you're getting away with anything now with modern technology and chat GP. That's not exclusive to the United States. They can Google the fuck and chat GP every fact and known law in order to get over on you. If that's the type of woman you're dealing with, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, but also to the question in regards to what can passport bros to do if she was here on a green card and you and you wanted her to lose that. I've heard of a situation of, well, it's two things, right? When it comes to abuse, right? I know somebody that had mentioned that during their divorce, he never showed any aggression or was any abuse. She got a restraining order under false pretenses. Now, under the Trump administration, I was telling him, I was like, well, I would have said that she made a false statement. And they might look into it harder than maybe the Biden administration, maybe like, all women tell the truth. But I've seen it work in a man's favor as well. I read a situation of a white guy married to a Kenyan, and he said she abused him, and she ended up getting her green card revoked and going back to Kenya. So he beat her to the punch. So, not saying people should be, people shouldn't be leveraging that loophole, but it has worked both ways,
Yeah, I think Drew is right. I think it's just a higher level of scrutiny where it was before, people could just come over, they could could stay here and it wasn't an issue. And now it's, and I've seen it. I just seen a girl there. She said, times is hard. She said, I forgot what kind of car she was and $11,000. And she said, she'll marry you. You know, and this was talking about a foreign person. Like, you know, I need this car. I need about $11,000 to pay off these bills. And you pay for it and we can get married. Now, she might have said that jokingly, but I do know people that have done that. That have brought someone over and, you know, they were supposed to pay and do all those things because they were supposed to be married. And, you know, either they paid or didn't pay or however that went, but it was all under false pretenses.
Right. Yeah. Now, if you knew your foreign spouse lied on some documentation, and you knew her dirty little secret, and you wanted her to leave, obviously you got that over her head, like she lied on.
All I'm saying is don't ever put that in any documentation. Don't email it to her. Don't put it on a voicemail. If you don't say it to her in person, you're extorting her. And they still gonna flip it on you. I'm just saying. Think about it. If you put that in a text somehow, I got you. I know you lied on this, that, and that, so you withhold information. So now not only you are aiding and abetting a federal crime, now you're extorting her over it. She still got you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So let me say this. All I'm saying is Trump with this rule, all he's doing is enhancing a rule that's already, or a law that's already been in place, and equaling out what other countries have already done to us when we travel to their countries. We are the freest country to come in and pretty much open our doors and so free willing to let people come in. That shit's starting to get locked down now. A lot more than it has been. And a lot of people are pushing back, but yet and still, if you go into their countries, it's a lot tougher to become a citizen in their countries. There's certain things, even as a citizen, you cannot do, land ownership, and a whole bunch of other things that go along with, even though you're a citizen or you've given up your right of your blue book or whatever, you still don't have full rights of a natural born citizen of their country. All we're doing is locking some of that down now with some of these rule enhancements or law enhancements right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. This, we still think that we got something over and we can send somebody back. It doesn't happen that easy. No, but I do agree. In other countries, it's much harder to become a citizen, to do all of that. In the United States, they do make it a lot easier. So I think we're actually just catching up to the rest of the world.
Yeah. I mean, and we still, and the green card still has the most power I've seen as far as permanent residency goes in the world, like for a spouse. Now, if you're a non-spousal green card holder, you got to wait 10 years to apply for citizenship, but 5 years is a short time compared to most of these countries that I've seen. Most of these countries I've seen in Latin America is like 10 years. The DR was supposed to be quick.
No, it's still 5. Like if I wanted to do there, and I'm married to a Dominican, I still have to show residency.
Right. And then here's the other thing. How much money are we requiring for these things? We have to put money in a bank account in their country. Even though it's like $15K or something like that. But I'm saying the amount of money that Americans have to put in their banks in order to either get visas, long-term stay visas, whatever, or actual legal residency or actually become a citizen is outrageous compared to what we do here in the United States.
I'll say this. I had to show at least 3 years of income. W-2s, bank statements. They had to see I had the financial means to bring her here. So again, it's not as easy as everyone think it is.
Don't you got to sign a financial? Don't you got to sign a financial affidavit saying that you'll be responsible for?
Yep.
And
it's not even that. It's more that you make. 1 point for every. So man, for you, can all even be difficult. Not more difficult because for each
Yeah, because
person,
the amount of bodies. Yeah, the
yeah,
amount of
you
bodies.
have to
Sponsoring
show
that.
that you can financially support everybody.
I'm better over there under some serious pressure.
Yeah,
You
so
get what
it
I'm
has to
saying?
be like
There is a dollar
1.5%
amount.
of the poverty level that you have to be
Yeah.
above.
Yeah, I mean, lucky for me, I had that Deloitte money, so that covered it. Like, oh, he's cool, but yeah, you really got to show true income. You have the financial means to take care of that person because you are responsible for that person financially.
So,
Yeah, and
so
it's
you
go ahead.
so you gotta have money. So you can't be a broke passport, bro.
No, you can't.
If you want to live,
Can't.
if you want to live in another country, or if you want to bring it back, you
You
gotta
can't.
have money.
Exactly
That's
the
what we were talking
contradiction when
about.
everybody's saying you broke to travel. No, you're not broke. Not only are you not broke, you have to prove to these countries that you can afford to stay there. And then if you bring them back, then you got to prove to the whole United States that you can actually afford to keep them there.
Let's take somebody like, say, a Jay Rillo. Say he don't file no taxes. He just got some YouTube. He got them. All right. He ain't even getting paid from YouTube. He just getting cash apps.
Yeah.
Right. So they just giving him some cash apps. He getting money.
He living off of donations.
Yep. He living off of donations, but
He got no 501c3 or nothing like that to prove
Yeah.
that he can take a legal donation.
Yep. And so he finds a girl he want to bring back. That's going to be a no. He has no history of income to show that he makes any money.
They were like, how you gonna take care of her?
You can't take care of yourself without somebody giving you money. How to let alone take care of a whole nother person or a whole family. Say he goes and shoots up a club and gets somebody pregnant overseas. Lord Jesus.
They're gonna be laughing when they look at the application. They're gonna be laughing their ass off. They're like, what's so funny? Look at this paperwork.
Yeah, I think Drew had it right. Social media gonna eliminate a lot of people. You know, because that's what they jobs look at it now, and they're probably gonna start looking at it now. You know, what you got on your Facebook, what you have on your Instagram, what you putting out there, and if you always in a hot girl summer and you doing this. I told you the story of a guy that I know. His girl had been here before. I think they've been to places like man, she get him because they go to Disney Paris or something like that, wherever they go, and he was bringing her back here for the second time. And I guess they looked at him, and then they weren't married. They looked at him, and they looked at her. It's like, man, there's a big age gap here. And they said, let me see your phone. Now, I don't know why this girl still did not eliminate evidence that she had on her phone of her past career, but they sent her right back. Not only did they send her right back, I think she's like on a 5-year ban. Like she can't come here.
Wow.
And they put you right on that plane. You can't answer those questions. So
That's a good thing you brought up. Like I forgot about they could count. They could go through your phone.
Fella, let me tell you this. They not only that, look, I forgot this. I told the wife this. When I came back from Colombia, bruh, you know, so this time I was smart. I was like, look, every time I come back through Fort Lauderdale, if I gotta wait for my luggage, man, the airline takes so long, and by the time I get to the line to get through the immigration, sometimes, you know, there's only about an hour and a half wait to get to my next flight. And it takes so long that sometimes I miss the flight because I can't check the bag in. This time I was like, I'm bringing carry-on. I'm good to go, man, because I'm not waiting. As soon as I land, I'm going straight through immigration. I get to immigration. Dude was like, where are you coming from, sir? Like, oh, Colombia. Oh, right. There, bring anything back? No. All right, come this way, please. Everybody that was on trip from Bogota, Medellin, every Colombian trip, we got diverted to another line where they went through your stuff. Like we going through they took your passport, they put it up, they had a whole big filing cabinet in alphabetical order. And this is how I know they know the bio, because before they even called my name, I guess they got the camera and it just recognizes your face. And then they take you to the line. The line was long as hell. Everybody off the plane was going through there. And searched your bags. They went through all of that. I seen now one thing they didn't do with me was the phone. But when I passed through, dude, they had a dude with his laptop out, his phone out, everything. So, bruh, I'm telling you, they can go through your stuff and they will, because you think, oh man, I'm back here and I went through here. Nope. And it didn't matter if you was a guy, girl, families. There was no discrimination. Everybody going through this line. I was like, that's the first time that ever happened. So they, you think you coming back and you gonna do something, and they will scrutinize you. So don't think you getting away with something.
Yeah, that's imagine a foreign spouse, because I know people that's travel with their foreign spouse on their green card. They want you want to take trips and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine a guy, he's never been able to have access to her phone, right? They go somewhere, come back, and they want to check our phones, and then the immigration officer, they find something in her phone. I mean, they're not going to tell you, but they find something that's suspicious, and let's just say they found something that really saved you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they could use that against you, man, going through that phone, man. So that's a game changer.
But yeah, I think one lesson we need to take from this, guys, is do your own diligence. I think a lot of times you hear something and then even do diligence on your behalf. My experience may not be the same as Black Man Travel's experience, may not be the same as Roland Travel's experience. I can only state what happened, because times change, laws change, fees change, the climate of political atmosphere changes, and all of that can have an effect on, who you with and the country you're coming from. At the time I go through, maybe DR was a friendly country and it was bringing me in, and now, something happened on the news and now we're not. Or, Thailand was great at one time and now it's not. So all of those things can really have an effect on, you're bringing someone in. And so you got to be real cognitive of that. And just because a guy said it on the internet, look into it, because, a lot of times we sensationalize the headlines without looking into what actually says with something. You're like, oh man, that's what the headline says. And guys run with it and think that that's true and never did any type of investigation as to what really the facts are. And you can get caught up, good or bad, in any part of life.
Facts. I mean, as I was going through this law and as I was listening to other immigration lawyers and everything else, they kept saying within the continental United States. So to bring up a passport bro and a relationship outside the country has no bearing on what's going on here, because most of them aren't bringing them back. So even to cross associate the two, like, yo, why did he even put passport bros into this? None of them are doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a feel good moment for the passport bros, but yeah, it was
more like a scripted feel good moment for a passport bro that ain't doing none of what he was talking about.
But the only thing that I think, I guess the passport bros could feel good about is if you are bringing her under the Trump administration. They're walking on eggshells, because they're holding people that ain't break no laws that got green card, lawfully lawful green card holders they're detaining for questioning or things like that. So yeah, I've talked to guys in situations. They said that their spouses is acting real. They're on their utmost. They're on their best behavior. So in that extent, but after whatever future administrations, like, I don't know what the climate would be like.
I mean, the vetting is the vetting. You should have already done this, and y'all should have been open enough that you can answer the questions truthfully anyway. So the fact that you are a terrible vetter and that you have to realize once you get her back to the United States, if she even gets the visa to come back to the United States, once she's here and you're actually trying to marry her, to not understand that you didn't even vet her better than the United States did, just let you know, man, you just a poor choice of quality women.
I can't say that, because if you're not there long enough, you may not know, the criminal
but if you're not
history.
dating long enough, then you should be asking to get married.
No, I'm saying if you're not in the country long enough, because people can pretend to be whatever while you're in the country.
Exactly.
They can be nice. And so you may not just know the history. How many girls have you dated and said, let me see your credit report, let me see your police report? We don't do that. So, and to have that done in another country,
you really take it. You take it like, what type of girl you dating that you have to ask her for her criminal record? She got tattoos on her eyelid or what? What the?
No, but I'm saying you don't know. So if she was a 304 at 18 to 25, and now she's 30,
she's all cleaned up.
Yeah, you don't know that. You only seeing the after effects. So if say she was arrested for prostitution, you don't know. How are you actually gonna know? So you can't say that's the guy. We only know the finished product. And sometimes it's culturally that's different. It might be languages that different. So you can put in a good vetting as much as you can, but one, not living there, that becomes very difficult to see that person on a day-to-day basis. And somebody just got to pretend for a little while. Dudes do it all the time. How many dudes pretend that they millionaires when they down there and they broke as dirt?
Right.
But for them days, they like, I'm throwing out this money. I got this, girl, we going to these restaurants. I'm doing this. And that's their last bit of money. Or if they like Jay Rillo, that ain't even their money. That's somebody else's money they spent.
I will say this from dating quote unquote Black Latinas. They not good at hiding or pretending. Like if they don't like your ass, or they got an attitude, or they want to, they show black women show their true colors. You know what I mean? To a detriment at sometimes. Like they can't fake it till they make it. I'm just like, damn. Even in my past situation, she has a strong personality, and she showed me that she wasn't gonna kiss my ass to come to the United States, or regardless of how much money I got. So, but
did she have to kiss
no,
your
she
ass?
don't. She don't have to. But I'm just saying that when it comes to a woman trying to pretend. I noticed that black. I'm being facetious, but black women sometimes can't pretend. To they can't pretend. They can't bite their tongue for nothing. Anywhere in the in most places in the world.
You can't hide
We see. Yeah.
And this goes to what Drew just said. He goes, you can't polish a bird. The statement goes true for Americans and foreigners. And I always say all money does is give you access and the availability to be your true self. Just because you have money don't mean you're the most ethical, moral individual possible. It just gives you access to be as corruptible or as corrupted as your true self is. So it doesn't matter whether you have six figures, millions of dollars in the bank. If you're an asshole, you're just going to be a true asshole, because all the money does is give you the freedom to be your true self. That's it.
Yeah.
Same thing with relationships too. You can pretend only for so long, like you guys know, LDR or whatever. Once you're in a real relationship and you're in front of that person every day, the truth is going to come out over a period of time. You're not going to continue to hide that lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know some chicks that hit it real well, man. They played the game.
Yeah.
You're sitting as an observer and you get to see the before and after. Like you get to see them while they're with the person, and then when that person isn't there, and you're like, man, they got played with the rope-a-dope. They got him.
She fooled the whole family. You like, damn, man,
And so it's difficult, you know. I mean, these girls today, man, they play the long game. They understand, you know, how it is and what they got to do to get there. And so it's like, all right, I know my mission.
You know, one thing I noticed, like even guys who got married overseas and stayed there, their marriages didn't last long either.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I know a few guys who actually divorced after a few years of marriage in Brazil, Colombia, DR. Yeah, they lived there and they divorced.
Oh
So it's
yeah,
like anything, like any relationship, man. It's not guaranteed you're gonna stay together
Right.
forever.
Especially if you pick them the wrong way. But
Yeah.
I have to kind of push back a little bit, and you're absolutely right. But I was listening to Andre on Love Crossing Borders, and he brought out the statistic that foreign-born marriages last longer and have a lower percentage of divorce versus American or Westernized marriages. He's saying the
Where
percentage
you
is
getting that information from?
Yeah,
That's
I want to know
weird.
that.
15 to 20%, but I'm look it up. But I think it's about 15 to 20% for foreign-born marriages versus Westernized marriages,
Well, you have to
which are
understand. You have to understand
70%, because you're
Yep.
investing more time in the foreign marriage and getting to know the person than some of the superficial shit
I
that goes
disagree
on
with that.
in the
I
Western
think
society.
I think for one, most people in these countries do not get married, and the ones
That's
that do
true.
get married, they have the resources to stay married. So
That's
that's why when he used those statistics, I have to question where he's getting it from, because if most people in Latin America don't get married like that, they stay together, they have families, they're not married.
That's true.
Mm.
That is
So,
true.
in regards to westernized men moving to these countries, they carry their westernized behavior and antics with them, and that's why the marriage don't last long. They fucking their cousins, the sisters, the mama, and you know, it is what it is, man. So it's like most of the time, like most guys who do get married in these countries and stay there, that marriage don't last long. Honestly, the American marriage lasts longer than most of the foreign marriages.
Yeah, I mean, I believe I would still be married if I was living in Colombia. You know, I believe 100% if I
Because at
was
least
there
here
to
in
the
the
time.
States, you know the consequences of that divorce. So you're gonna stick it out. You're gonna
Yeah.
stick it out, you're gonna drag it out, at least until the kids turn 18. But
Hmm.
overseas, you feel like, you know what, fucking I'm done. I'm done. And most times they don't get married, they just walk away. How many single mothers out there in these countries that don't have no husband, no father taking care of the kid? The guy could simply just walk away or move to the next town over.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing there in their country. I've talked to like some single moms, and they like the dad. He like disappeared. Like they don't have like, there's no idea where they at. It's not like here. Like I can just look them up. Like they just gone.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I think that a lot of us bring the Western mentality as men to a lot of us do want I would say the ones that a lot of us do want marriage, and and a lot of times we meet women that marriage is not a priority, and most women are not going to turn down a proposal, and they may feel like it's the right thing to do, but from my experience is that I've seen women, and I've seen women that never brought up marriage, never imagined themselves married, or never pressured or never, put that pressure on your head that they want marriage. Even my ex-wife, she wasn't a person that saw herself having kids nor saw herself getting married. So my Western mentality I don't want to call it Western mentality, but my mentality of wanting marriage, I wanted I value the institution of marriage more than her. You know what I mean? So it probably didn't mean a big deal to her to get a divorce as it would somebody that really, really believes in the institution of marriage. So, and some guys marry girls that are not, you know, uh, where marriage isn't a goal of theirs. You know what I mean? So I think if you meet a woman where marriage is a goal for her, not for fun, not for negative reasons, but for positive reasons. I think those marriages would last because it's a goal for both of y'all, not just one of y'all.
I think more or less in those foreign countries, it's not marriage, it's more financial security. So they'll be with you for the financial security, whether you get married or not. So I think if you got the place, you got the house, you got the things, and you're able to take care of them and they feel financially secure, I don't even think they pressure you on anything else.
I agree. I agree. I agree. That's why you don't need to get married if you in one of these countries. In my opinion, you don't need to marry them. You only need to marry them
Correct.
if you want to bring them back.
Correct. I think you can just enjoy it. But remember, a lot of people don't look at the laws, and I just so if you guys looked at what's the guy's name that does all the Spokane videos, but he had just done one about a white guy in the United States. Look, he said, I'm not getting married, but he lived with her long enough that they got him on the common law, and she took
Common
half
law.
the stuff.
Yeah.
And
That's
so make
true.
sure when you go to these other countries that you understand that sometimes they have, the common law, things like that where they can take some of your money if you're not, you're not with them. So you have
Yeah.
to really be careful. You think, oh, well, I didn't get married to her. I don't have any kids by her. She just been living with me for a few years. And then you want to kick her out. And she's like, you can't kick me out. This is my place. And you're like, wait, hold up. So be very careful how you do it. Just live that single life. Yeah, DC born Rob. That's right. You get caught up and all of a sudden you think, man, I didn't get married, but this girl just took half my stuff. Half of it. And
machismoism doesn't. I will say this: machizoism doesn't work in marriage. It works if you're not married. You know what I mean? But it doesn't work in marriage, man. And so I think that's a hard thing that men are going to have to accept. Because if you interview most of these women that where even Kanal mentioned a lot of divorces, I bet you one of the issues the women might say is that he something that is going to relate to machismoism, whether controlling or whether she feeling like she held back, or whether it's going to be something around like a power, a perceived power struggle.
mm.
Yeah,
no, in these other countries, these women are, I don't know what they've seen on the United States, but I think that's how it is. They the tides have changed. I remember when I used to go, you used to be able to bring simple gifts over there and you were celebrated. No longer. Now, I mean, you bring a little, I'm just bringing something that's really nice. You think you're going to get somewhere. Now they got used to the internet. So they know the high brand items. They want the top line, the mark. So it becomes a finessing you have to do. So they trying to finesse you. You got to try to finesse them. But I think if you're there, I think the difference is you really get to see how they are in their culture. So, and if they aren't behaving the way you want when they're in their culture, please, guys, do not think you do it in your culture. And the laws here really protect the women. So you think, oh man, I can do this, I can do that. The laws are set up to really protect her over you. Just men in general. We're going to lose out. So be careful in that. Be very careful.
And I will say that, I will say this. In a lot of instances, I think I think I always say protect your pockets, but a broken heart can hurt more than somebody breaking your pockets.
Mm-hmm. Because I think guys, I mean, I've seen guys who are like, man, it really wasn't about the money. It was, how did they get over on me like that? Like they just got me. So it wasn't, the money was secondary. They mad that they got money, but it was just, how did I even fall for it? How did I not see this? So the money just becomes secondary because they never seen it coming.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yep. Cause I know guys, they
Oh
whether
no,
it's
I'm
go ahead.
answering that question with no, I'm always celebrated, man. That's just how it is. I feel sorry for the other dudes. Now let's say if I was a new guy, if I was here and I was a new guy, it still happens because here's the thing, Drew. I'm gonna let you know this. The age that I'm at, it's just prime. I'm at the age now where the women have already gone, if they were married, they've already gone through a marriage and now they divorced. Now they had their kid at 20 years old and now they 42 or something like that. Their kid is out the house and now they on a second trip. And now they look out in the sea and they're like, man, I've been with this dude or all this, and now I'm ready to do something different. And so they look around and there's nothing out there. Mm-hmm. And so I would be one of the very few that would be celebrated. Now I will go, to where, now that's just how it would be. Now I would have to be that dog and that guy who wouldn't care and wouldn't be, I couldn't be marriage focused or even relationship focused. Yeah. I know what it is, but I would be, and you would, here's the thing, Drew, you would really have to be ruthless nowadays. You have the advantage. Yeah, you have it's just like if you was selling cars.
You would have to be that structured too. Like, yep. I can see you on Tuesday and Thursdays because I see an old chick on Mondays and Wednesdays type of shit.
And here's my price. You
could be honest. That's the whole thing, though. You could be honest about it because those women at that age would appreciate your honesty. They just want somebody to spend some time with.
And if you got to know the value, and I say that on any site. I was just looking on Facebook Marketplace, and I was looking for something for the little kiddo, and I sent something to a lady. I said, "Well, would you take $50 for this?" And she sent me some long letter back about it's brand new in the box. It's regularly $130, and I done discounted it to $80. I told her why. I said, "Just wait. Ain't gonna get no offers." So what did she do? You see the price went down from 80 to 70. That's a 60. I said, as soon as she'll be at the offer I want to do. So it doesn't matter. So if you know the work, so you're going to go out and there's going to be a lot of people to say, this is where I think I should be at. And you got the time because you're not desperate anymore. You're not hungry. You already have it. So it is, I'm still celebrated, but there are a lot of guys out there that didn't do their due diligence in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And it is, you got to go where where a little bit of money going to get you a long way. In the United States, it might be, you might need it, but you got to go where that little bit of money may take you a long way. Or, in the other countries, I've seen it where the women, and this is not a celebration for American men. This is actually a bad thing for American men. We go to countries like Colombia, DR, Brazil, where the men are so much more rigid, where they don't take the BS. They don't listen to that. And we go over there and we're celebrated because we are the weaker. We're the simps. We do what the other guys don't do. We tolerate what the other guys don't tolerate. So we are celebrated because we tolerate it. So that's a good one, Drew. We are celebrated because we tolerate it. All the other BS that the other guys do not do, would not bring it up.
So that question, no excuse it. Do you think that most guys are traveling? I know we easily like to call the guys simps here in this country. So would you say guys who traveling overseas doing things that the locals will never do are the simps?
I mean, I wouldn't call it that because I'm on a different end, but on the outside looking in, that's what to them, yeah, we simps to them. So I'm not gonna deny how they would view it, but do I from an American lens, when I say simps, no. Because in my definition of simping is you don't get nothing in return. Like I would say passport bros get something in return. That's tricking, but simping, like, we get something in return. So I don't think simping applies to the travel movement passport bros. I don't think simping applies for the most part.
So I'm gonna ask you two brothers that actually got them back. So is that model something that you go to? Go ahead and address it there.
That's living out of fear. That's living that. I'll tell you what, it would be very difficult. All right, let's just say I didn't bring him back and I'm just on my strategy. You know how tiring it is to just hold around that much? It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of planning. I mean, even if I wanted to now, like if people say, man, you can cheat, you can do this, I could. I ain't got the time, man. That means I got to plan something out. That means I got to go somewhere. When I look at that day, I'm like, that's just too much time out of my day to get to where I need to get to. I couldn't do it. So when you say, no, don't bring him back, I just told him how this week went for me. Man, I just been working I've been trying to get this app and things together. I mean, I've been hitting 12, 13 hours a day. I got to have somebody who did my laundry, who cooked for me, who had that prepared for me. I could not advance as far as I wanted to go if I had to take care of all the other things that I couldn't do when I didn't want to. So I think that's that mentality, don't bring them back. For what? So what are you going to do through your life? Just gonna hold around, and that gets old. I've been through that. I've had plenty of
been there, done that.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Now let me, if you don't mind, let me get Fearless and Canals. Well, all y'all opinion on this. I've noticed that a lot of situations where women want out is because they weren't physically attracted to the guy. And so how do guys, well, I know the answer, but I have an opinion, but how do guys, because I'll put it like this. I was explaining to one of my guys, I was like, man, I felt like you married out of your league, and you gonna give your homie your honest opinion, like, bro, I think you married out of your league, looks wise. I didn't say it like that, but that was the message I was conveying. And he was just like, no, but a mutual source, used to say that, she not really attracted to him like that, but he's a good provider, he's a good person and stuff like that. And women leave once they can't take it no more of being with somebody they're not physically attracted to, maybe it's sexual too. And how should guys, how would you tell guys to kind of look in the mirror and just say, I'm struggling in saying this because
just say it, man. Goddamn,
it's so many angles because a lot of men have confidence too.
I'm gonna say this, okay,
and they feel like they could pull anybody.
I'm gonna say this, no excuse. I kind of get what you're saying, and I'm sharing something my personal experience. We just had a son. My wife and I, we picked up some weight. And me picking up weight, that shit affected my damn testosterone level.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the urge. It was just like I was working a lot of hours, got a new contract, Fearless and Roland, they know the deal, what happened last year. I was under a lot of stress. And man, it's just like we had to build each other up. And it's just like, now we're working out together. We go to the gym on Saturdays. We're eating cleaner. And when we do stuff together and we definitely critique each other, that brings everything back. So it's like, it's going to be some days, man, it's like, yo, I can't do nothing for you because I'm not in the mood. And there's going to be some days where, like, you know what? She's the most beautiful woman in the world. And I don't want to be no one else. Me personally, I've always been a relationship type of guy. Like, I had my moments when I went out there and played the fields, did my thing. But I always yearned to be in a relationship. I love being a father. I love being a husband. That's me. But also, too, as we get older, we do get lazy. We get complacent, like, and taking care of our wives, making sure that we look good for them. So sometimes you gotta look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I am slacking off. You know what? I do need to spend more time with. I do need to buy more gifts. I do need to do more things. And that's something you really got to do, because understand this as a marriage, dude, you still got to cater to that person.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be some days, man. Like, it'd be some days like she wants some thing. And I'm like, baby, I'm tired.
Yes, it's out there.
You don't roll over and give her that lazy L?
Man, I go to sleep, man. Right. I'm good, man.
The question is,
but it'd be some days that I wanted and she's tired.
But no excuse. I know what you're saying. We all, a lot of times we all out of our league. But here's the thing: what I think attracts the woman isn't, it can be the looks, but it's everything else.
Exactly.
It's like when my wife said, like, man, the way you just took control and looked at him. I mean, it just turns me on. So those are the things I think the guys
let me jump in on just that point. I'm the biggest dude in this room right now, body wise, bad bod and all. You would think it was because of money. Everybody made fun. I had an AI girlfriend. She wasn't real. Then when they started seeing reality, now it's got to be about my money. Now it's always another excuse. It's either you really get down to the root of who that person is and what her ideas and morals and ethics are, or you get played. And it is going to be about some of those other things. Only time will tell. Like we said, the longer you try to hold on to that lie, the more the truth is going to come out later. As long as you're observant enough and looking at everything, you'll see it. But if you see genuine affection, genuine appreciation for the things that you do, and they bring it up, you don't bring it up, they bring it up. Then you start seeing the truth of what you're really dealing with in that person. And that comes through time. You're not going to see that right away. And yeah, you can let everybody from the outside look at you and say, how the fuck are you guys together? Or you can just say, it's our secret, and it has nothing to do with you. Every woman has a different appeal. I mean, dad bods have been in for a while. A lot of women won't outright say it, but they rather have a dude that doesn't necessarily have a super fit body. A lot of women don't like muscular bodies. It's all in the eye of the beholder. But the truth of it is, once you get to talking to that person and you're getting to understand what their morals and ethics are and what they believe in, then you kind of figure out what they are. And then, you're going to slack off like Canal says. And then you guys have to have no egos. And you have to say, look, hey, we got to get you in the gym. We got to drop this. We got to drop that. And I already have goals for myself. Hey, I want to drop so many pounds. I need to get rid of this damn turkey neck. I need to get rid of that belly that I got. There's certain things that she's helping me with. I function better in a relationship. She's going to help me achieve my goals just like I'm going to help her achieve hers. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of mutual respect and goal achieving between the two people that get you down that road. And you always got to check in. Things change.
Like, it's some women that find white guys very more attractive than, non-white guys. But they may end up with a black guy, and but who they naturally find attractive is not going to change. Physically attractive, if they find white guys to be very attractive or more attractive, that's not going to change if they end up with a black guy. So,
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Was your wife the most beautiful? Was that everything you have seen in a woman that you would have married, or that was your attraction?
Yeah.
See, mine what? Meaning, I know the type of woman that I'm like, oh man, that body, that this, and this. That's the type of woman that to my eyes are great. But I already know that type of woman is never good for long term. So women do the same thing where they say, you know, that dude in the street, he looked good. But women start to say, you know, that's good for today. But what about tomorrow? What about do?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of guys, when a woman sees a wedding ring, they see him with his child, they actually become more attracted to the guy because a woman looks at something like, man, that stability, that he's taking care of things. Those are the things that are attracted to them. So yeah, they may be attracted to that person physically, but that physical is just a facade for that time. That's just it. But over the course of the time, that doesn't do anything. It's like I'm attracted to something much more because they have a nurturing thing. Our eyes are just like, yeah, that look good. But to us, it's just like candy. It's like, yeah, that's some good looking candy. Man, if I could get that. But we know that the steak is much better than that dessert. The dessert is just, you know, something to have.
Like somebody like Kanye and Kim Kardashian, you know, a lot of people, even myself, don't really feel like it was a point where she realized she wasn't attracted to him no more. You know, or what she was accustomed
about that
to.
third or fourth baby when she knew she could jump whenever she wanted and she was already her own billionaire. I mean, what's the point? You know,
if women aren't attracted, somebody said that women aren't attracted to dad bods. Then I want to know why all them people with money, you know, let's look at it ain't even dad bods. Have you ever seen Tom Brady's body when he take the shirt off? Brother, he ain't nowhere near in shape, and they love him. They love him. So I
mean, you keep believe me, keep believing that. Every dude don't fit a certain profile. You can try to stay in shape. I mean, you got a fucking think about this as a football team. You got people that have fast twitch fibers. They're running backs, wide receivers, and so you got big guys that guard in the line. Do you think those big guys, once they get done playing football, whatever, they're going to shrink to some other fucking unbelievable level? Those guys are that size for a reason. Sometimes Mother Nature and sometimes whatever you are, you're going to be. You know, as long as you're staying healthy about it, your blood pressure's not up and everything else, and you're trying to stay physically active, you're not going to shrink to a European standard that you see in a fucking book. It's not going to happen. Certain people are built a certain way. Samoans are built a certain way. Your natural genetics are going to put you in a certain category. Everybody is not going to fit in a box the way they're supposed to fit based on a document that says, what's the eye of the beholder? And that's the other thing. What is the eye of the beholder? The person you're attracted to.
Is she attracted really in the United States that we really, you know, I mean,
I think at the end of the day, you try to be the best version of yourself. Like for me personally, I know I don't feel right when I pick up weight. Like I feel it in my body. Something doesn't feel right. When I'm at my best shape, I feel great. I feel unstoppable. So for me, it's just the way I perceive myself. But also too, the energy that I give off. If I know that I feel out of whack, I give that energy off. So that's why I have to be very mindful. So when I do fall into that funk, I gotta be mindful. Hey, listen, I don't bring the energy to my wife, to my kids. So I gotta stay focused on grinding.
Correct. And Hugh says, you know, women don't like the dad bod. Let me tell you this, somebody who's been ripped up before. When I was ripped up, I've had women not like it because to them they said, well, now your body is intimidating. They think if I eat a certain way, that limited their certain way, and that if I got a six pack, that I only want a girl who is in top shape. So they look at it like I don't even want to deal with that because that means maybe we can't go out. Maybe he don't drink. Maybe, you know, he has restrictions on the thing that he does. And if he's looking that way, he's going to look at me a certain way. So it was almost like I was beyond their expectation.
You're enhancing her insecurity. Let's say what it is.
That is correct. Exactly. Exactly.
That's a good point. He looked better than me.
You already know, man. You got to jump in this conversation when you can, like hopscotch, brother. Don't unmute that mic and make your comments.
No. I was just listening to you, but I think Fearless just made a good point. I always tell people, like, man, it just depends on the actual woman, and then it also depends on the time frame that you get that woman. And then sometimes a woman, when maybe she's younger, she could look for the guy, and they love six packs. They like tapers. That's not a lie. Maybe being too ripped is too much. And so there's this fine line between too much. And they showed pictures like this of social experiments. A guy goes to the street, shows a body of a bodybuilder and just an athletic body. And then the girls are like, oh, that one, not the one that looks like a bodybuilder. So, and then of course, like Fearless just said, it depends on the woman. We kind of look at it one way. What do women like? It's like, yeah, what they like and then what they want. And so when you talk about sexually attracted to, yeah, they're attracted to a six pack, but at the same time, they could be attracted to other things that you have. Maybe the gab, right? The gift of the gab. It could also be your determination. It could also be your mindset. It's like a lot of different things. And it depends on what the woman wants, what type of guy she wants at that phase in her life. Does she want this guy now? Or does she want a guy she can more so control? So these things change here and there, and they have this variance. And so I just think, like, you just got to deal with each individual woman. And then even when you deal with individual women, you got to deal at that time that she's in. She could change in 5 to 10 years. If men actually knew that and could settle down on that actual reality, they wouldn't be so shocked and surprised that a girl says they've grown apart and she wants to leave and break everything up. That happens. People change.
That's why I say you always got to go back and check in. You're changing. You're always gaining knowledge and wealth and information, and so is she. So if you guys aren't going down that road together, you can definitely veer off and go two different directions because you're not tapping in with each other.
And you could even call it like downgrade. Like you could call it whatever. Like I have a bunch of qualities, but I had a long-term Polish girlfriend. It's not that I downgraded, I actually upgraded. But the things that she wanted now in life, she no longer saw my other components as valuable. I didn't want to be the father putting together a dollhouse for women and my little girls. That just wasn't what I wanted in my life. But she saw that as highly attractive at that point in her life. No longer was me flying in clandestine operations and working with the president. That wasn't attracted to her. She wasn't attracted to that no more at that phase in her life. And so even though I leveled up and became richer and more successful, she didn't like that anymore. She wanted a different type of archetype of man. I wasn't going to change. And so we had to separate ways. And so that happens a lot too. So
because
a guy could be like, I'm richer. 20s, I got a better job. How do you leave me? And it's like,
because the things in her 20s are different or were important change when you become 30. Right. So you going away, you're doing that's highlight. I get that. But then, maybe as she matured, it's like, I need that guy that's here all the time. I need him to be around. I need that family man. So just what she wanted changed because her outlook on life changed. And that's what happens usually. And it's the same with us. I've dated chicks that I'm like, oh man, I hit that. The same girls that I would hit in the 20s, in the 30s, I'm like, yeah, I
wouldn't even think about it. You're like, what the fuck was I thinking back then?
I can't even take the chance because now, I'm thinking, oh man, if this chick became the mother of my kids, what the hell would I have done? So you have to look and say, that person I just can't let in my life just because the direction I'm going, the way they're going to act, we're just not going to be on the same path.
But fellas, let's not pretend like I was talking to a lot of women that and they say, man, Americans, let's just say Black Americans. They say Black American men are very, very attractive in your country, and just like we see foreign chicks in the U.S. and then we go to their home country, and you like, man, they even badder at home. They even badder in Colombia. Like I thought Dominicans was bad in New York. Like DR got this, So they experience that too. Like they see the brothers traveling to their countries and they say, okay, they look good, but then when they get to the US, they be like, oh my God, these guys really look good. So it could be a shock to a lot of women too coming to the US with a guy, and she may be blown away by.
Is that her fetishizing about you and the type
I
of
seen it
person
the
you are?
opposite way, man. Like when my wife came, she's like, "Damn, y'all fat, y'all unhealthy, y'all
Really?
don't do, y'all, especially she had cousins in New York. She's like, damn, the dudes always wearing their pants down, they smoke, they not taking care of themselves. So it was a complete change. Like whatever I think I seen on TV about everybody being wealthy and taking care of this is not the truth. There ain't all these rappers. It ain't everybody got money. It's just dudes who just not even on the level. So it goes there, so it just matters how they look at it.
I mean, money too. They see more money today. Like, oh, I thought my man had money. Like, they may, they see people with large wealth here too. That's a that's a culture shock too for a lot of women.
I mean, here's the thing: if you're trying to compete with your wallet, you're never gonna win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's never gonna win.
I don't even want her to make that observation to me, because if she is, that's a damn red flag like nobody's business.
Correct.
What you mean?
Mm.
I mean, even in her own country, there's levels of wealth. There's classism. There's a whole bunch of things in her own country. The fact that she wouldn't realize that in an American it is dumbfounding to me, because she definitely noticed it in her own country before she got here.
Yeah.
Because it's extreme in her own country.
And
I mean, go ahead.
I've seen it there. I mean, if you go in and say, man, and I've said this analogy before, and I think we messed it up, where the first time, I got schooled on DR by a girl I was dating and her brother. And she told me, she's like, you got to go out with my brother, man, because y'all messing things up. I was like, what do you mean? In DR, at the time I was going, all the women look good. They were looking. I mean, we were in a hotel once, and my friend was like, "Man, they must have a dime factory upstairs." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Every chick that came off this elevator was a dime." He's like, "I don't know what they doing up there when they producing, but it was fine." The thing is, with the guy, the brother that I had gone out with, he let me know all the women was fine. So if everybody is a 10 or a 9, looks don't mean anything anymore. So his thing is, all right, yeah, you look good, and she look good, and she look good, and she look good. What else you bringing to the table? You know how to cook, you know how to clean, you know how to do this, you know how to do that. And so, yeah, we go there and we're just overwhelmed because we're not accustomed to the look. So we think, oh, that's fine. But that gets stagnant after a while. When you say, yeah, that's good, but you look good. What else you got? Mm-hmm. That's the same here. The girl say, yeah, you got some money. I mean, but what else? I mean, you got something else? And I think I just seen a thing with Myron Gaines of Fresh and Fit. They were talking about he got the money, but his girl left him. Why? Because he in the house all the time. He not being social. He not taking care. So, and the person, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just going by what they stated. The person she would have left him for was an average trash man dude with hardly no money.
But so that happens all the time in America.
Shaq's wife left him for the trainer. Tom Brady's wife left him for the jiu-jitsu guy. So it ain't be about no money, because if
it could be about looks, it could be looks though too.
But looks get old too, and then she settles back for whatever the money and everything. Everybody has their own ideas of what beauty and what their standard is going to be. That's why you always have to check back in. Things change over time. That's knowledge, true. Wealth, experience. The woman says, I might have liked that then, but I like this better now. And some women learn early in life and say, I'd rather not deal with that dude because I know all he's going to be about is getting the next chick.
And let me explain. and let me try to help Ronan out with this. When he say check back in, I think this is what he means. No matter if you're with someone, you start to do things outside of what they do. And so your life just takes a different path. And if y'all not on the same page, y'all start to grow apart. So you have to check back in to make sure that we on the same path, we got the same goals, whether that's with your company, that's with anybody. And I tell the story that I dated a girl who went to the Peace Corps, and she came back, and I was like, man, you changed. And she looked at me and said, yeah, and you haven't. And that was the most hurtful thing somebody said to me, because nothing had changed. My apartment was the same. Everything was the same with me. And we grew apart because her experiences were not my experiences.
Exactly.
The way she started to view the world was not the way we viewed the world. And I would say this, since you guys have been in the military, that's what happens with a lot of guys in the military. They go overseas, they have some type of experience, whether it's traumatic, whether something happened in their life, and they come back and that person at home didn't have that experience. So they can't communicate the same. And that's why a lot of people who were in the military marry somebody in the military, because they share a trauma. Police officers marry police officers because it's a certain level of trauma that they've shared that they can get with. So you have to continue to check in and say, our experiences are the same. We have to do things as a couple. And a lot of guys just think, I've got with you and I'm going to do my thing, you do your thing. And they're not on the same level. They don't even share the same nothing. Go ahead, Ops.
And
Well,
that was a great. Okay,
let me follow back up with that, and especially with the military part. And I want Obstacles to jump in after this. We changed over a period of time. That's why brothers in the military, and even me encouraging brothers to travel. One, you get wiser with your experiences in world travel. You have more appreciation for what's going on in the United States and everything else. But what we saw was when we're traveling, our homeboys, our guys that stay back home and everything else, you could leave them, and let's say they're on the corner on the block. They sit in that same block. They sitting in that same corner. They talking about the same shit. Like you didn't leave 5 years ago. They still doing the same shit, like time has stood still for them, where you had done so many other things in that time period you were gone. So you notice that you're appreciating the changes in the world where that person's standing still. That's what we notice when you're in the military, more times than not. That's why I say even brothers that have passports, they should travel, because they start seeing that block mentality of when they left just to go on that weekend trip. How many things go on in a weekend when you go travel? You come back, your boys are still sitting on that corner block on that stoop or whatever they're doing. They ain't got no new conversation. They ain't got no more world experience. They sitting there saying and doing the same old shit. You stuck in a fucking echo chamber. The minute you break out of that, you started noticing, oh, fucking. That's why you tell a lot of people, go outside and touch fucking grass. Get off the fucking computers. Get off of social media. Go touch grass. Go have a conversation with a real person. You'll notice that you're only in a box. And me and you, Fearless, we've done analysis on who's listening to our channel, who are our viewers, who are this. And it's like we're stuck in some echo chamber, unfortunately, and we're trying to break out. And it's not to our regular listeners, but we want to have a broader audience. You know, so many people say that, man, you guys should be bigger. Why aren't you? I don't know. You have to go back and check in. You have to analyze what's going on, that growth isn't there, the exposure isn't there, whatever. Same thing with relationships. Things change. You got to constantly check in if that person's goals are still aligned with yours or not. Those things come in relationships and business and everything else. But go ahead, Oscar.
No, I think that both points were on point, like Stacey Adams. And I would also say, when people say like go out and touch grass, I will also add to it, go out and touch new data, go out and touch new crowds and new tribes. Like a lot of times you're just in a filter, in a bubble. Even if you go into your community and touch grass, them people ain't talking about nothing around you. They're probably talking about localized stuff, and they're also in a filter. So at the end of the day, you just got to go search for new paradigms. And whether that's virtually and then also physically, which is point of getting your passport and traveling physically, but also leveraging the age of information to virtually also get your information out there. Like brothers learned about traveling, not through the Department of State or through their mama or their friends. They just got to a tribe passport bros, running travelers, and then we're like, oh man, there's this whole place called Thailand, and it's this place called the Philippines. It's this place beyond the DR, you know? And so I would say at the end of the day, touch new data, touch new groups. And then going back to the, relationship thing, guys, look, you ain't a kid no more. You had to grow up one day. And relationships are like that too. You have them when you have them. They might last for 20, 50, 30 years. You might have to make 20 changes. So, you hear people say, we've been married for 50 years. Little do you know, the wife is getting tossed up by a mandingo on Sunday. You don't know nothing about that, but they made that agreement maybe when she became 40, and she said, I always wanted to do this, but never did it while I was young. So people's relationship is very complex, right? Mm-hmm. And so you deal with your own relationship, go back in and, as Ronan said, tap in with somebody, check. And if that person is like, hey, look, I want to change directions, you guys always see it as a bad thing. Look, be grateful you had 8 years of a relationship and then move on. That happens sometimes. Now, most people want to label it as a failure. I only think it's failure when you had a bad toxic relationship where there was DV involved. Outside of that, you better be gracious, because if you go to the internet, the dark web, you could see people out here flipping on people for breaking up with them, deleting people because a girl wants to leave or a guy wants to leave, the girl deletes them. Like, it gets dangerous. And so if you had a relationship that was good and it was 8 years and she want to leave now, count your blessings, be glad you still got your life and you're not incarcerated, and then learn from that experience to get back out and do something better and make a better deal for yourself next time. And don't take it personal when girls are like, I want the 6-figure, I don't want an average guy. Bro, I never wanted a girl that never wanted me. So at the end of the day, if a girl says, I don't make enough, bro, I'm not even trying to buy you. Good day. I hope you find a buyer for you. I wish you the best, but I'm just not that person who's going to buy. And then that's it. I don't take it personal. I don't see it as a knock to my identity and what I've done for the United States government. I just say, okay, good to go. Who are you to write that deal anyways? It's not for me. And then just continue to walk.
I see this from Hugh, and sir, I disagree fanatically. It says men are in love, women are in business. You can't get complacent. I disagree because to me, marriage is the important business decision you will ever make. So I never looked at it like love. That's too simple. I needed to have a return on my investment. What is it how is this going to enhance my life? I looked at it like business. And we reevaluate the mission statement once a year, every time something changes. What's the mission statement? If something came, we just had a child. Okay, the mission statement changes. It still comes down to the funds. No matter with me, it's about business. And if at any point I said, look, I have to make it, because if I don't, everything else falls. This is how it works. And if you are not on the same page and it's not being productive for me, look, love was great when I was a teenager. Love don't mean nothing no more. I can love you and just not want to be with you. I don't put love anywhere in it because I know that there's something higher than that. Love, when you're with someone for a long time, that ebbs and flows. Ebbs, it's in, it's out. I'm in love. I'm not in the love business. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And that's how I look at it. So I think a lot of guys get in a relationship and they say, oh yeah, I'm in love and this. And they're not looking at it as the long term. This is a business decision. Who you lay next with can affect your today, your tomorrow, your lifetime, because of finances, for anything else. And we just look at the big butt and a smile, and that's how we get food. What's your man's name? Birdman. With Tony Braxton for all these years. No, she done been through bankruptcy. No, she left him and come back to get married. Why would you do that? Without a prenup, without anything else. That's when a guy is not about his business. Somebody who really about their business, you don't get like that. You on your purpose. And as much as I was just talking about your boy Myron Gaines, he still was on his business. He like, psh, she might have left, she might have done this, but it did not affect what I'm doing. I'm still producing every day. So if she gets somebody, I'll replace her. I'm still on.
I want to ask. Let me ask Fearless. Let me ask you this question, and you guys can answer it too. Now, me knowing someone that brought someone to the U.S. and it didn't work out, and we talk about vetting, but his approach, he wanted the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Whether it was her cooking for him, cooking, cleaning, and stuff like that. And so when I think about him, he didn't really he in his eyes, it wasn't really enough for him to vet for because his requirements was so
Who's him?
low.
I'm sorry.
I can't say that.
Who's the him? I'm sorry. Who's him? Who's the person you're talking about?
I'm not going to disclose that. I'm just saying. It's just I'm trying to generally. I'm trying to just be anonymous about it. But basically, he didn't feel the need to vet, or I ain't gonna say feel the need to vet. It wasn't a vet. It wasn't the situation. She was me. In my eyes, it was the bare. His checklist was low. She checked two boxes, and he was happy with that.
The kid that's on the bottom of the screen right now, after he had the most experienced men around him, mentorship, all the things he needed to know before he made that NFL contract, before he got in the league. Everybody saying, bro, get a prenup, bro, get a prenup, bro, get a prenup. Don't necessarily trust the first chick that you meet up with. Get out there. Now that you got the exposure and you have this wealth, a lot of people are going to come after you. He had the one chick that's sitting right by him. And now the rumors are already spilling that he's getting ready to go through a whole divorce. Hasn't played but a pregame for the NFL.
Right. So even if we use him, so how, where does the vetting? Where does the vetting?
Let's go with this. I know what you're saying. Like, oh, even with me, you say, oh, I just needed this. Let me break it down to you. Those are just superficial things. I mean, if you can't do that, I can't even have you. I already know that I am a productive person. I can do all. I'll tell you, like my boss told me when I was doing something. He was like, brother, that's not on your pay grade, man. What are you doing? We don't pay you the money to do the mundane things. That's something for somebody else. If we paying you this much money an hour, that's not what you do. That's delegated. And what I found in my life was I was spending the majority of the time doing things I should have delegated to someone else because It was just too time consuming. So when I look for a partner, I said, these are the things that I need taken care of so I can actually delegate myself to do other things. Now that was just a small portion. There's other things I look for. Are you teachable? Guys go to these countries and they only communicate if in Spanish or on their app. And the girl never was going to learn English. And you think if you brought her to the United States, she was going to be able to learn or be teachable or something outside of that. No, they never wanted to try anything new. They go to Colombia and they only want to do Colombian food. They ain't want to do anything else. So you think if she's so locked in her ways that you're going to bring her here and something's going to change, you have to have somebody you still can mold and teach. And I hate to say it like that, but and that's one of the reasons it's very difficult when you hire people who are older because they already have bad habits. The best person, the best person to teach how to box is somebody who never boxed because they don't have any idea what to do and they ready to learn. And so that's what I was looking for, the person who was moldable to go into what I needed. Some guys don't do that. They get in the person who's just already stringent in their ways. So social media, what they posting on social media, are they ever posting you on social media or they just always got their shots? Are you ever there? Sometimes not. So even though it seems like a minimal things, those minimal requirements, I'll give you a minimal thing. In a business, you say, I just need somebody to run the cash register. That seems like the most minimal, but that person is the most important because that's the only person they see when they come in. If you go to a restaurant and the host tells you like, yeah, I ain't got no time for you, you already have a bad impression about the restaurant before you ever stepped in. And that's the minimal job. So sometimes we say minimal, but that minimal is the most important part because that is the facade for the whole business. So my minimal person represents me all over. So those are parts that we really got to think when you say minimal. It's not minimal. I just don't want you to think that.
You hold on. You brought up something good because, like, like this person, like she didn't post him like that, but he wasn't he wasn't looking at those details nor cared about it. So vetting only applies to guys that vet, and they may have vetted wrongly or correctly. But what about guys that don't even think they don't even think about vetting? They just pick a girl they like, and if it work, it work. It don't, it
Let me
don't.
ask you this: if you had a business, would you just hire anybody because they showed up?
Me, no.
I mean, what I'm saying, if that person just hired the first person that gave them the application, you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
A fool and his money are soon departed. Everybody has to turn in an application somehow.
Right.
So, I mean, you saying like, yeah, you didn't vet him, you didn't look at him, those things you didn't care about. Well, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, some guys don't vet. They just don't vet,
And you get what you get.
No, they vet, but they vet for different reasons. Like, can I, how easy I can get you over tonight? Are you good at slobbing on the knob? Those are their vetting schemes. But other than that, they not vetting for what's really important. Well, maybe important at the moment, and that's where it becomes messed up. Oh man, she fired. She not to put it on her brother. Oh, that's great, but I don't know how that made you more successful. So you can vet for the wrong things.
That's true. That is true.
So that big button, a smile, I don't know how well that cooks or that cleans or that helps you save money. That's just that looks great for the moment. And to go back to Hugh, he said, the fairy tale scenario. I don't think marriage. I never thought marriage was a fairy tale. I think it's a work. You still have to put in. I think that's the deception. I don't remember. Way back in the day, I don't know about the fairy tale. It was always going to be a progression. I think even Indian. I think we're the only people that think like that. I'm thinking of the Indian people I know. They never had a fairy tale. It was like, hey, your mama said he's good, and that family said you were going to be a doctor, and we putting y'all together. I don't care if y'all love each other. This is business. Back in even when the fairy tale, you say, when the king married the queen, it was France marrying England. I don't care. I don't care if you like you. My son is marrying your daughter because this builds our land together, or this makes money. That wasn't a fairy tale. The fairy tale was, yeah, we made more money. It wasn't nothing about I'm falling in love. I think we got this misconception, and that's why we're doing something. We're getting it on emotions. I mean, just imagine when you bought your first car, how good it felt. And then how it felt like 5 years ago. And you're like, man, like, yeah, I bought the convertible and now I got to move stuff. And that wasn't the right car for me to move stuff. It was great, but I didn't make the correct decision.
That's a good analogy.
So, yeah, I do think that. So I think anytime you want to get with someone, you got to understand that. And I think this is what the law comes to. You guys paint a picture, and they think that person is going to be the same when they bring them here. Sometimes that person doesn't change. It's just life changes, things change, and
Exactly.
they're not willing to flex through that. And that becomes the issue. And you gotta, just as a guy, you still have to be somewhat flexible. You still have to be able to navigate and see, how things are going. That's just leadership roles. You have to be able to look at things and say, yeah, what we did before isn't what we're going to do now.
But also too, I think guys need to look beyond the looks, man. I think a lot of guys that go overseas, they just focus strictly on looks, got some good head, good sex, and that's it. And they think that what makes a good mate. And they don't really take the time to really get to know the person. They see the red flags or just ignore them. So the same amount of work it takes for you to find someone here in the States is the same thing overseas. I don't know where we're making this stuff so simple. Just go overseas and find a wife. It doesn't work that way. It's actually more difficult to do that because the culture difference. So that's my take on it.
I'm gonna tell y'all one thing, one real thing, man. I've been chasing fat asses all my life, all my adult life.
Oh my Lord,
And one thing I can say is that every chick that had the type of ass that I like was not the woman for me. So at some point, to Kanal's point, you gotta tell yourself, okay, whatever physical characteristic that you desire, a lot of times it may not produce a good woman. A lot of people say 9s and 10s, aren't marriageable for a reason. And chicks with a super dope body, you don't see too many people married to chicks that got a body just naturally flawless like that. These IG type girls, you rarely see it.
Let me help you out with this, brother.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you a question you may not know, so I'll try to help you if you don't leave it. Who would you consider just recently like the best gymnast?
Best gymnast?
Yeah, you ever watch gymnastics?
Oh, okay, gymnastics. I mean, you got Gabby. I mean, currently, I guess I would say Gabby.
Or even before that, like Simone Biles, the little girl.
Yeah, Simone.
So I'll even go back even further. One of the best decathlon people before he changed genders.
I would say Bruce Jenner.
Was Bruce Jenner. The reason I say that, so on both of these things, Bruce Jenner may not have been the fastest in the 1500, the long jump, the high jump, the pole vault, none of those things. Simone Boyle may not have been the greatest, like first place every time they do a course or the uneven bars or whatever they're doing. She may not have been number one in each of them, but at the end of the events, what they do is they say, we're going to combine all of these scores, and that's who wins what they call the all around. What you're looking at is a person who is in the decathlon that's good in one event, and you think that they're going to be the Olympic champion. Doesn't happen. It's the person who may be not great in one event, but good in all events. That becomes the difference. So Simone Boyle may not have been the greatest floor person, uneven bars, all of this.
Dog in her name, bro, is Biles.
Biles. Simone Biles. She may not be the greatest in every event, but when you combine all the events, she's number one. When you look for that significant other, you can't look for one thing, man. One event ain't going to help you. One event is not going to be the best thing. It ain't gonna be that big butt. It ain't gonna be that smile. It ain't gonna be she make money, whatever it is. You got to look for the all around. And it may not be, you might be like, oh man, this girl don't have the best body there is, but damn, she take care of this. She does this. She does this.
But why is it so hard to find a good woman with a fat ass?
It isn't. It's not.
It is.
For you, maybe. I ain't no problem. But again, it depends on how fat you want it. That's a whole other another conversation. But you got to understand, a good-looking woman with a fat ass is going to also, you're going to be in a high competition situation, right? Because everybody else is going to want to experience that fat ass right after you jump up off of it. So then, is she focused on you or all the other attention? So now you have to look at the direction that the woman's looking at. Is she looking at just solely you as that man? Or is she looking at all the opportunities and attention she's getting from everybody else for having that prime fat ass?
Correct. And that might be all she can bring to the table is that fat ass. That's it. I'm telling you, I was with this one chick. She was the finest chick, but she was dumber than a box of rocks, man. And I was like, there's nothing I can do to help her out. It was like, just if we gonna go somewhere, just don't say nothing. Just don't say one word, and we good.
Yeah, T-Max in Cali right now at the Petronio Alvarez Festival, hanging out with Love Crossing Borders, Flyboy Way, and all of them. So I think your boy Kings and Dreams is hanging out with them as well. So, you know, yeah, there's plenty of opportunity in talent. Let's put it that way down there. Absolutely.
So yeah, you just gotta, you know, you can get the girl with the big booty, but you know, is that all you're looking for? Because you can find a girl with the big booty, she just might not have anything else.
Yeah, and everybody else is gonna want to ride on it too. Where's her price?
Because just being real talk, like, you know, me like exploring like Ethiopia, for example, and the culture, and comparing to like other countries I've been to, especially in Africa. Ethiopian women are not shapely like that for the most part. You might get lucky and come across them, but like, you know, for a guy that want like, you know, small waist, fat ass, that is rare. That's rare in Ethiopia, you know, overall. So, but in exchange, you would get a good woman with those, you know, with those intangibles.
What's important to you?
Right, because here's the thing. Even when you just said that, as an American man, you're going over to a foreign nation. Obviously, she knows you make money. If she's not a virgin, then she's already given it to somebody for far less than what you're willing to invest in. Think about that. If you ain't getting her untouched, she already gave it up to somebody for far less. How much are you willing to go through and for to get that one? Knowing that. Now, is she worth it?
I'm trying to get your angle.
The angle is what you going to get if she's not untouched. She's already given it to somebody for far less than what you're investing in for. That same thing. Now, is she worth all that effort and you putting her up on a pedestal? That's somebody you're looking at possibly taking. She's already crossed the line is basically my point. All you're doing is paying more for it. Okay. But is she worth you paying more for it? Is she going to forgive all others to forsake for all others for you? Or are you just going to be another one on the run? But you're just paying more for it than anybody else has up to that point when you met her.
It's I guess, and I think Phyllis was asking a question, but like I'm at a crossroads where, at least for me, like I know that the good woman or the best woman for me might not have a fat ass.
I can walk with my wife and my wife can pick out girls and be like, oh, that's your type right there. Before I even see her, like, oh, yeah, that's them hips on her. So she know that already. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, that's just a physical, quick attraction.
Mm-hmm.
I had them, and I told you that was all there was that. After that, it was like, hey, I can't have no conversation. You ain't doing nothing, man. And then probably the sex wasn't even all that good. From what I found, and I've been with a lot of women, that them big booties, they don't do nothing with them, man. They don't do that. Look, that's just all for show. That booty, she ain't working. She ain't putting no exercise in. She just laying there like a zombie. And I'm like, brother, all that body just went to waste.
I'm gonna say this: I'll pick a strong thigh over a big butt.
Mm-hmm.
Big butts are over. One thing I've learned: big butts are overrated. If she doesn't take care of it, it's sloppy looking. But strong thighs, toned, with nice calves, I take that any day over a big ass.
Yep.
Yeah, Africa full of them, man. Whew.
Hey, if you have to become a therapist, then she's already the wrong one. If she's not under her own therapy and working on herself, you should not have to become the baggage carrier of all her past traumas.
Yeah.
So she's already the wrong one. Turn around and run away.
It's like food, right? If you used to eating unhealthy food that tastes good, and then to save your life, you have to change your diet to food that you just not grown accustomed to. That's a very difficult, transition.
But let me ask you, man. You been with some big booty chicks?
I have.
Right.
I have.
So after you hit it like, let's just say you hit it about 5 times. What else are they doing if you chilling with them? Like, they got the booty, but is it like I've hit and I'm disappointed? Like,
do they have all the other traits? What other traits do they have aside for the big booty and the smile?
Because that big booty you get old real quick.
Yeah, I've experienced that, like, to the point where it's like, okay, the thrill is gone, and now you got that post nut clarity. So I understand that, but then it's just one of them things. Like,
What are you learning from the post nut clarity? If you keep going back to the same well, knowing that you're going to get the same story, what is that the definition of?
He tracing that crack high. That's what it is. You hit that pipe, and then you think
the definition of insanity. If you've already learned from that experience, your post nut clarity is like, yo, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Why are you continuing to chase the same thing? You searching for another high that you're never going to hit, like you just said. That post nut clarity, and then that crack high, that crack intelligence. Once you get it, you still doing it though. You still addicted. You haven't jumped off the train yet.
Yeah, well, I've been with girls with no ass, and just like they weren't happy in a relationship because I wasn't, smashing on them all the time. And they like, man, so they start to.
You need to pick a happy medium of what you. You went from the extreme of big booty to no ass. No middle ground. You couldn't find one that had a little nice, firm, like going to gym type of squatting it out type of ass.
Yeah, see, my ex, she was the perfect medium. She was the perfect medium. I'm speaking on Ethiopia now, and so I'm not.
But
they don't have your.
You do notice that most of the girls with the big old butts are the single ones, and the ones with the flat ass, small ass are the ones getting married.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know. It's just like once you travel, like you travel to a lot of places, like you said. I think Notice, because you mentioned this earlier about DR. There's so many beautiful women there that the local men do not give a fuck. They're like, whatever, and they treat them like crap. I've seen it myself. And it's like, yo, I could replace you tomorrow. No, I could replace you in 5 minutes. Just like that in Brazil, just like that in Colombia, because they just used to seeing it, man. It doesn't bother them. It's like, whatever. I think for us, we put in our heads that we're not used to seeing attractive women, that we go to these countries, we lose our mind. But for me, I was raised in Miami. I grew up around that shit. So traveling, I was exposed to that. Going to school at University of Miami, there were girls sunbathing at the damn yard, school grounds. Going to South Beach in the 90s, I was exposed to that. South Beach is topless.
Yeah.
You got dudes that's coming from New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. They lose their mind. Then they go overseas, they lose their mind. So it all boils down to, hey, if you're exposed to it, you don't care. If you're not, yeah, you're gonna make it more than what it is. But traveling to these countries, you realize, like, man, there's attractive women everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like,
and shout out to D Moore for the $5 super chat. The greatest respect is self-respect. Please have some self-respect, brothers. Pick better. And the best person to pick is a woman that has self-respect.
Yeah.
She respects her body.
She
hangs out.
You can't trust a big butt and a smile. I mean,
why, man? Why?
Let me tell you something. Y'all don't understand. My girl is a Filipino. They're not known to have big asses, but they do. But she's in the gym. She just got done working out. She grew that. It wasn't natural. You get what I'm saying? So they might start off with flat booties, but they can grow them if they put in the work. So yeah, you might have found that flat booty chick that had all the qualities you needed. Y'all just go work out together. You can put on that big back there and grow them glutes. Fearless can give you a workout program that'll work great. I know Fearless knows all those programs.
And again, most of them are not the ones that are getting married. If you look at who's getting married, it's your plain Jane. They're the ones getting married. They're the ones getting wiped up from Hispanics to Asians to blacks to whites, to plain Janes, all the Instagram body types. Man, dude, they just getting fucked on and keep it moving.
Because that's their only asset, man. It's just, if that's their only asset, that's all they have. And once a guy discovers, man, that's all you are is just a booty.
And I'm gonna say this: a lot of them starfishes.
Yeah, that's what I said. They can't.
A lot of them can't do nothing in the bedroom, bro. It's just like,
that's what I said.
You can't.
I said they the worst. They don't do that. Big booty is just there for show.
Yeah, they feel like, hey, that's what they had to come with, and then you got to do all the work. They don't know how to throw it back.
You get a little plain Jane, man. She's doing backflips, all type of shit to
you.
Hey, man.
And that big booty, they only know one style too. Get on all fours and turn back. That's it. Ain't nothing else they doing. They not knowing how to ride.
And I'm gonna tell you this, man. The ones with the biggest, they can't even take that, boy. You can't even pound them as much as you want to. It's like, I ain't stuck it in yet.
I ain't gonna go into the cheerleader body.
Man, that's why I don't get hyped up with that big butt, man. It's like, whatever, man. I'm like, keep it moving.
Love a girl that can do a chair sit. That's all I'm saying. Because every once in a while they come recruit dudes to go work out with the cheerleaders. And love a girl you can flip around. You know what I'm saying?
So I think when you were saying, the girl might leave and she gonna find somebody, I think you were talking about yourself. It wasn't the girl. I think you get with somebody and then you not satisfied and you leaving because you looking for something more than what they giving you. And so you might have to check within yourself to say, man, what's wrong with me that I'm just not satisfied with what I have.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. That's part of, men shouldn't settle. A man shouldn't settle. If I feel like that she's not checking the right boxes, if I feel like I gotta look elsewhere because she's lacking, then I don't need to be, trying to pursue that person. You do have to be happy with your decision that you make. But that also and I don't think a lot of brothers talk about this, but we need, you know, I mean, if we are gonna get married or pursue serious relationships, like we have to be faithful. It can't be, because I got a lot of guys, you know, even when I was married, and I have friends that was like, man, I know you still gonna be out in Colombia and doing this, and it was like, I kind of felt bad because it was like, damn, my friends are not even trying to push me to be faithful. Like they trying to push me to monger with them on the, you know, they still trying to get me to travel with them. I'm like, damn, y'all not respecting
Oh,
my
hey,
marriage.
if you were hanging with me, I kept you on the straight and narrow, brother. I'm like, I didn't show up for your wedding. I don't know if you've seen this meme. There was a brother that was out there trying to act crazy. And his boy that went to the wedding said, I did not buy you a wedding gift and this, that, and the other thing for you to be out here doing this shit. And he checked his boy and told him he needs to leave the club. I'm that
all
dude.
you focusing on
I'm
is
that
the
dude.
ass, man. You know, your priorities is wrong. When you get to a certain level, that you just don't have time to be out there. You're like, man, I just don't have the time. It ain't that I can't. It becomes, how am I spending the most valuable part of my time? And when you think, man, I got to meet somebody. All right, I got to meet them. It means I got to spend time talking to them. It means I got to take them out. And that means I got to listen to this conversation I don't want to listen to. And I got to spend money that ain't getting me nowhere. It becomes time consuming. And just like, man, I don't have the time to invest in that.
Now, D-Boy, you ain't saying too much, man, but all I'm saying is that's only when she flex. I look for that snapback when you smack that ass. I don't want to see a ripple. I want to see a bounce.
But Fearless, you heard of y'all all heard of guys that married a woman in the US and they traveled to the DR on vacation with their wife and they was blown away like, damn, like this is the world that there's
That's
the whole
green.
world out here that I don't even, you know about.
That's his own fault.
All right, so that means I got a question. What was their wife doing? So if their wife wasn't, if their wife was
They
doing
would have big
everything,
Shirley. They would have big Shirley, and then they go to DR for the first time.
because they felt that the Big Shirley was the only thing that they could get, and that was what they was worth.
Or
didn't know
they
they
see,
were.
or they
So a
see
lot of
guys
guys
with
don't
younger
know their
women
worth.
too. They see guys with younger women too. Like, damn, I didn't know I could be with a 23, 24-year-old, you know, and I'm in my 40s or 50s, and you know. So if you,
but the thing is, they don't know that they're paying for it, especially they ain't put the Ghana. So it's like, I mean, for me, it's like when I took my girl to Colombia, I mean, she said like, "Hey, that's a lot of beautiful women here," and you know, I stood quiet. I was like, "Yeah, but I'm here with you." It's what it is. So it's like sometimes, man, you know, you don't make them feel uncomfortable because you acknowledge there's other attractive women out there. Say, you know, it's what it is, man. But I think, you know, once you get to a certain point in your life, it just, you want to be with the person you want to be with. Like me, when I travel with my lady, man, going to El Salvador, Colombia, we're supposed to go to Belize and all that, man. Dude, we have a good time. We party. We have a great time. Get drunk, dance. Dude, I enjoy that. I don't really see any other chick.
Right. And my big thing is what Black Man Tables just said. After we've traveled for so long, it's not like the thrill is gone, but we kind of already know what to expect.
Yeah.
When you travel with somebody like that, you see the joy, the appreciation, and you see it with a whole new lens when you travel like that with somebody you love, and you're able to give them that expression of love and enjoyment and them appreciating you for taking you there or taking them there and all. It's a whole nother level, man. I start living vicariously through my trips with, well, I'm going to be looking forward to it with her. You know, her getting to experience something for the first time ever, you know, being from where she's at. That's me living vicariously. I've done it all. I'm 58. I'll be 58 in October.
Yeah.
You know, but seeing it through a new lens and knowing that she's appreciating every trip, everything we're doing to build up to that point, that's a whole nother level. That makes it even more fun.
That's true.
Fearless is looking up something right now. I can see him.
No, I'm trying to find out what my man talking about here. I was trying to find some photos of when I was out. But I think just in any of this, I think that's what happens. And look, I would say maybe Trump is trying to protect you brothers that only look for the big butt and the smile. There's only looking for one thing, and he's trying to say, bruh, let me help you out. You haven't looked all over. Maybe let me vet where you have not vetted at. Let me take a look at the background and some things you haven't seen. I'm trying to protect you. So maybe he can help you out in the beginning, but you still got to have some conditions. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Hugh. Nah, I'm good. I've had adrenaline overload all my life. I'm good, bro. I don't miss the game at all. Now I need quality, not quantity.
And here go the thing, Hugh. If you play basketball with a 7-year-old, is there any adrenaline? And what I mean by that is you already know the outcome. You know, you the only thing that makes it exciting is you like, all right, we going to 20 and I'm giving you 19 points. Because that's what you got to do. And I say that because that's how it is being with women. When you've had women and you've been there, you already know the game. You basically playing just to play. It's not even an adrenaline no more because you playing chess when they playing checkers. You 4 moves ahead. You already know what they're gonna say. You already know your response to it. I've been with chicks where I'm like, I've talked to them, and in my mind, I've already hit it. I've had post-nut clarity without even hitting it because I already know. I was like, all right, here's how this is gonna play out. I'm gonna do this. They're gonna say this. Then I'm gonna do it. Then bam, we're gonna go back, and then I'm gonna hit it, and then I really don't want to talk to them. And so I've already went 10 steps ahead just during the date. So my post-nut clarity came before the check came. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. It don't be the hunt was over. The hunt to me is like what they call fishing in a barrel. It was done. I can already conquer the game. It didn't become fun anymore. And so what I would have to do, and this is sad on my part, I would have to self-sabotage things just to make it more exciting. To be like, well, if I say this, I wonder if I can still get it. If I say something like the craziest thing, you know, like, hey, let me pee on you. Oh, you down with like I thought that would turn you on.
You will find somebody like that, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You say something crazy, thinking this is the craziest thing I can say. This is gonna run them away, and they like, let's do it. And you're like, dang, I'm trying to get rid of you, you know. And so no matter what, you know, I found myself self-sabotaging things just to make it exciting. Just to say, can I start from behind the 8 ball and still get it?
Man, I lost it once I started hearing people talking about eating groceries as a standard. I'm like, what the?
Oh, what the hell no. Hell no.
What the boys doing in Atlanta like that they all talking about eating groceries? Man. I'm like, oh, man.
I really thought like, man, you know, I'm out of the loop, man. I really was like, why is eating groceries bad? Man, I'm out of the loop, bro.
I want to be out of the loop. That's off. Nah, bro. Not what the.
Man, I was like, but they got buying going to work. I could understand if bad if you was going to Whole Foods, but what's wrong with groceries? Yeah,
man. And then they explained it to you like, what the fuck is going on nowadays?
So Hugh, I understand. Yeah, you might not want to get married. So what is it? Just hitting and quitting? I mean, you know,
how long can you do that?
Varieties? Because I've had the Asian, the Indian, the white, the black, the Latina. I mean, you know, basically, after a while, you're like, yeah, that's kind of basically the same. They all the same. Okay, you know, if you ain't doing nothing different, you know.
How long should a man let's say a man 304 phase should be?
Whenever whenever you feel like you're done. Yeah. I mean, not everyone's meant to get married. Not everyone's meant to be in a relationship. If you're gonna play that field, play it. But I better not see you with no mud ducks. You know, you see a lot of guys talk all that shit about the stage, then go overseas and deal with mud ducks. Man, I'm like, really? So if you're gonna play the field, man, at least play to win.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to see things you can easily get down the street.
And even if you play in the field, man, get something out of it, bro. If you are playing the field and you just a financial sponsor, ain't helping nobody out. You
That's a
doing
big
nothing.
word right there. Here's the thing. I don't care how tired or how energetic you can be. After a while, it's like, where is your return on your outlay?
Exactly.
You're spending all this money all the time for random women, day in, day out, whether you can or can't get it for free or whatever. It's the investment of time, all the travel, and all this other stuff. When are you gonna relax? I used to look. Let me put it this way. I do retirement investments, and I used to deal with a lot of ownership, a lot of people, multimillionaires, and everything. I used to ask them, "What is your number?" Like, what do you mean? What's the number where you're gonna say, "Fuck it, I'm done," and I'm just gonna go ahead and live out the rest of my life as a philanthropist and travel and enjoy my family? 75% of them said, "I don't have a number." You're gonna do this till the day you die? What's the point of having all the wealth? The fuck? What are you doing all this money if you're not going to enjoy it? You're just going to keep on putting pressure on yourself, keep on running up your blood pressure, have multiple heart attacks, aneurysms, this, that, and the other thing for the sake of saying you have wealth. What the fuck? That's why I always give O2 all kind of fucking compliments on the fact that the young man has made his money at a younger age and he's out there not pressuring himself to do it, but he's enjoying life while he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many clients like that are still to this day trying to run up the number, aneurysms, all kind of, health issues.
I mean,
making a bag. They're making a bag for somebody's business, but they still are not enjoying their life.
I mean, how many young black men dying from heart attacks in their 40s?
Right.
Yep.
And who have ED issues because they're overly stressed out.
Yep.
And I mean, it's a lot, man. It's like the bachelor life is cool if you could control yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't, it's not as glam as they try to paint it to be.
That's true.
Eventually, like even athletes, you can only damage yourself. You can only get so many surgeries before even the owners are saying, "Look, you're not worth the investment, bro. Take your money and go do something else with it." But we can't keep paying you to keep on doing this job, the thing that you love most. Say you love fucking, and you retire from the majors. I'm gonna use O'Shea Dujack. You done retire from Clapathon University Tech, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing in your retired years? You can't keep on.
Some
clapping.
dudes can't, man. It's like the old boxer who just got to keep fighting. They can't give it up. They like, yeah, I'm old. I still got to go out there and get it. And that's cool, but there's still a method. At an older age, you should have a different flow to you. You should have a different style to you. I don't know. It gets. I guess if I was older, and they got to be doing something for me. I mean, change my diaper or something. Do something. But it just gets, a lot of guys that, like we said, they going over there and they just, the first thing they see, they jumping on and not understanding the consequences of their actions, and they getting it. They getting it.
There's one dude I know. This happened in 2017 when I went to Brazil, and he went to Bahia, Salvador. Dude was a bona fide monger, anxious, overly anxious, jump on anything. Two girls set him up. I guess they were, I'm going to say it, they were underage. Well, they got him. And I get to Brazil. This dude's rushing to get back to the airport. I'm like, what's going on? Like, bro, I got hemmed up. And I think they were 17 or something along the lines. But they were not 18. And I was like, dude was just so anxious to smash something, man. And it's just like, they got him for like $1,000. And they recorded him too. It was like, yeah, if you don't pay us, we're gonna send this to the damn news. They got him good, man. And and it shows, man. A lot of guys just they lead with their dicks, man, and they just think, that's traveling, go and just smash as many people as possible, not knowing that there's consequences behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a lot of these countries got STDs issues too. We're not talking about that. They don't talk about how dudes are catching syphilis, gonorrhea, and all this other shit. I'm like being part of these WhatsApp groups, man. You see some wild shit. You see some.
My Thailand group. I ain't know so many brothers hit that raw. I'm like, God.
I seen some videos. Like he had 10 dudes sharing a chick.
Man.
Like how the hell 10 dudes sharing one person?
That's crazy.
But hey, you know what? The way they position it, they living the life. And it's just like, man, I'm good on that, man.
Yeah, I sit and have conversation with my girl, and sometimes she'll be looking at some of these IG chicks, and when she put the first thing she goes, "Well, what does her family think about when they see her in those pictures? What about her kids in the future?" I said, "They don't have any shame. It's all about money. It's all about money in the Western world. It's about how much they can make. Even the family will turn a blind eye to some of the shit that's going on, and they know these girls are out here making that kind of money."
It's not in the Western, dude. I mean, go to Thailand, Philippines, they're doing the same shit.
Right,
they just go to a smaller town. They go.
Listen to the mentality, though. What I'm saying, and I'm sure your ladies are the same thing. They might see that going on in their country, but they still ask about family perception and their children. Their morality and ethics are in it.
Still goes on. You can't try to like make them.
But what I'm trying to say is, when you're picking a woman, when they start talking about shame and this other things, then you got a woman with the right mentality of saying, well, maybe this person I might need to invest some time in because she's speaking differently than what society is saying is acceptable.
That's everywhere though, because you can find a woman with some level of decency here in the United States that look down upon that shit. Like, no, I don't want to be associated with that. Then you could go to a foreign country where that's just red light district. It's all in your face. So really, it depends on the person. It depends on the character of that woman.
That's very true.
We just lost in that sense. A lot of guys just lost in that sense.
Yeah, I think that's the conclusion, man. A lot of guys are lost. Old, young, rich, poor. It's a lot of men that's lost,
But some of us lost as our own fault. We don't listen, we so hard-headed. We don't listen to people who've been there, done that, and tried to, basically say, hey, let me tell you what happened to me.
Yeah.
Because we always smarter than the next man. That's the problem.
That's the big thing, is being hard-headed.
Mm-hmm.
And being harder to teach. Let's put it that way. Not moldable. Even us as men. You talk about when you grow up, you might have grew up in a single mother's family, but you had mentorship in the church. And as a younger man, I used to sit down with older guys, and I used to listen to their stories. I used to listen to their ups and their downs, their successes, their failures, and I would learn from those stories. So as I was growing up and I had my own experiences, if I saw that story happening in front of me, like, how come this seems familiar to me? Because I listened to those older mentors and I listened to those older stories and say, I already know the end of this story if I go down that path. I already know what's going to happen. So why go down that road?
Mm-hmm.
But some dudes are so hard at, like, I can change it, knowing know how the outcome's going to be. I know I can change it. So they refuse to take the life lesson they heard from the mentor. They have to experience it for themselves. It's like the kid that wants to stick his finger in the light socket. You keep telling him to stop sticking his finger in the light socket. Don't do it. Finally, I think there was even a TV commercial. Older guy in the 70s was like, yo, no, don't tell him nothing. Let's go ahead and just let him stick his hand in there one time. Sometimes you just got to do it in order to learn. Some people learn from other people's mistakes. I used to learn from my brother's mistakes. He was the wild child. He was 3 years older than me. He used to sell drugs. Used to do all that. I'd learn from his mistakes. I didn't have to experience it to know if I went down that road, what the fuck was going to happen. But we got a lot of kids now, a lot of younger guys. You old heads are just old and salty, blah, blah, blah. Instead of wanting to learn and listen to the experience and the wisdom, they still fighting against the fucking tide.
Yeah. It's a lot of things I had to learn on my own because ain't nobody do it before me. Like, let's say when it comes to traveling to some of these countries and learning about different cultures and the type of things that would match best with my personality and what I'm looking for. A lot of things I had to find out because didn't nobody else have the answers, you know. And so
but my question to you would be, nobody teach you, but have you taught yourself? Or are you still making the same mistakes over and over again?
No, I've always been a person that, you know, learn from my mistakes, not a repeat offender of certain things. And
you still chasing big booties, already knowing what the results going to be. I'm just saying.
I was throwing that out there, but like I said, I hit a crossroads, and you know, I come to some realizations. You know, sometimes some hard truths.
Inspire our listeners. What are some of those realizations from chasing those big booties?
I mean, it's the old saying. You know, a lot of old sayings that we hear. You can't trust a big butt and a smile. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Not saying that applied to me, but those truths hold truth still to this day. You know, and you know, if you happen to get lucky and find a good woman that has that certain body type, cool. But it you gotta read the room. You gotta read the room and what you. It's about it's about what you attract, not what you find attractive. You know, and I think I had made a post and people was like, man, they was like, man, this make a lot of sense. You can go to a country. It's not about going to a place where there's a lot of attractive women. It's about going to the place where you can get the most where you could get the most attractive women that you could attract the most attractive woman. I lived in Milwaukee. Like I always say this, I lived in Milwaukee. Milwaukee not known for having a lot of beautiful women, but you know, my baby mama, she was the finest chick you know what I mean, arguably that I ever had. And she came out of a city where her beauty was a minority. I lived in Houston where there's thousands of women like, let's say, my child's mother. But I wasn't pulling the finest chicks in the city that had a lot of finest chicks. So it made me realize it's not about what the demographic is. It's about what you can get. You know, same thing with money. I could get a job making $100,000 a year in a place that they don't pay high salaries, but then I could go to a city that pays a lot of high salaries and can't even get one of them high salary jobs. You know.
I agree with that. I agree. I found it more difficult. I don't know. When I've been in a smaller place with fine women, I find those girls a little more difficult.
Yeah, because the competition is higher on the men's side. Yeah. They're out there. They're very few. Just like you said, you go to a country like Colombia where there's beautiful women, Dominican Republic where there's beautiful women, Thailand, all these other places. It's tougher for them to find that good man versus a man finding a good looking woman.
But men will go to Colombia and get a chick that don't look like a 5. They'll get a 5, and
because it's scallywags. The dude's not looking for competition. He just wants the easy rollover.
Bro, Medellin got some of the most beautiful women in the world. Anybody that know Medellin, they cannot get a girlfriend that's a 8, 9, or 10 in Medellin. And they in the land, they literally in the land of dimes. And the best most guys could pull is an average chick out of Medellin.
And why is that?
Some of those fine women are the street girls.
That's true. That's true.
So that's, he might like, yeah, I can have a fine one, but I don't want the fine one because everybody done had her. So maybe what's, and what we say, what's average to you may be great to him. And not in looks. Maybe she had the overall. Maybe he ain't got to worry about, man, this chick trying to steal my money, take this. She taking care of my business. And like, this is how I've always told people. I said, like, if I was basketball, I'd rather have a player that showed up every day than a Michael Jordan that was hurt all the time. He good when he get in, but when I can't depend on him.
But that's a good point. Like I played I was on a roster for a D1 school for basketball. It was University of UW Green Bay, which is a small market. Now, I wanted to play D1 ball, but I couldn't go anywhere and play D1 ball. I had to go to a D1 school where it wasn't, better competition. You know what I mean? And so to reiterate my point, when it comes to travel, it's not about going to the country or city that has the finest women, because you can go to those places and you might not get none of them. Sometimes it works in reverse. For a lot, especially if you're an American. You know what I mean? You could go to a country that's not known for having a beautiful one. Let's just say Bolivia, or let's just say Bolivia or something like that. They not known for having beautiful women, but you might go there and find a dime. Why is that? Those type of situations, I think, can happen more easier for guys than going to a place that's just full of beautiful women.
True that. Let's see we've been going 3.5 hours. Maybe it's time
bro.
Start wrapping it up. Fellas, I think it's been a good conversation.
Absolutely.
Be careful out there. Trump ain't here to save you, passport bros. You got to save yourself, man. Save yourself.
Right. Don't set yourself up for failure either.
Mm-hmm. So save yourself. Don't believe everything on the internet.
Sure don't.
That is
not a savior. That's not a savior enhancement of the law for passport bros.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fellas, we hope that you enjoyed this show. Please check with us next week. We'll be right back at it with some good topics. Check out Ronan's channel, my channel, Black Man Travels channel. We're going to try to throw some things out during the week, a little more content for you so you can have something to look up to, So we greatly appreciate it. D Ward, we appreciate the $5 super chat that you threw in there for supporting the channel. That is always great, man. We love the support. We appreciate it. If y'all don't get our views up, we're gonna have to start talking about some crazy stuff and bring it back. Maybe the knowledge, maybe it didn't hit everybody, but at least maybe one person learned from something we throwing out there, and that's really all that matters. Because if we can save one guy from all the destruction, it becomes a domino effect.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Salute, fellas, man. I'll check y'all next week.
Appreciate you for joining the panel. And we tried to get Glow Spinner on there. Unfortunately, he's in Alaska right now on a Starlink network connection. So you got to pay that Starlink bill and get his data up. No jab, just playing around with him. But I would have loved to have his input. Go support the brother. He's out there hustling. I don't want to put his business out there, so I wanted to bring him on the panel so he can either say what's going on in his life. So, but he could have added to this conversation most definitely. Fantastic. But if you're on the replay crew, I appreciate you guys following up on the lives. I know you have plenty of lives to choose from, and unfortunately couldn't make ours, but you always contribute on the back play, on the replay. Drop a like, hit a comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification on all our channels for any content coming up in the future. We appreciate you guys stopping in and listening to our opinions, because at the end of the day, like I said, you can go anywhere. With that, Black Man Travels, you got anything? Are you awake? You over there?
I'm still here, man.
Okay.
No, just a great topic, and yeah, good night.
Love it. All right, brother, hit the button, man. Take us out of here.
All right, fellas, we gone.
I still got to change that outro, man. We still in winter gear.
That's
By the time
all
we
right.
in summer gear, we'll be winter time again. I'm fucked up. I'll fix that this week.
I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong, that's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, you can see that, excuse me. The crash came when the cash came, spend it for you get it like those rookies all on draft day. For the love like it's match game, hit the ground. Really do it for my last name. They act different when the facts change. I'm not with the tit for tat games. In my own league, I don't hate with lane. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't.